And with that, good evening and a very warm welcome to beautiful Bellingham, Washington, and Joe Martin Field, the site of the second annual, in its return at least, West Coast League All-Star Game, pitting the North Division and the South Division from the home of the Bellingham Bells. We are so thrilled to be back with you alongside the former Seattle Mariner, the Northwest baseball legend himself, Ryan Rowland-Smith. My name is Tyler Maun. Ryan, it's so good to be back, our second straight year doing this game, about a 5-year hiatus due to the COVID pandemic and everything else. And here we are, high atop the sun-splashed Joe Martin Field in Bellingham. He is Ryan Rowland-Smith, and I am Tyler Maun. It's good to see you, man. We had so much fun doing this last year, and it's great to be back in Bellingham.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And I say this every time I'm around, obviously the collegiate level, but especially when you're talking about summer ball, especially the West Coast League in this beautiful setting. I'm just jealous, man. I went straight into professional baseball out of high school, but being amongst this, especially second year in a row with you, Tyler, I am so excited.
This is a ballpark. You may have been able to tell by the shot of us in the booth. This ballpark faces southwest. The sun blasts into the hitter's eyes, especially if you're a right-handed hitter. That's something to keep an eye on as this game gets started here this afternoon and this evening. We're just past 6:05-ish, 6:10-ish here local time in Bellingham. But, man, what a fun place to watch baseball. What a fun place to play baseball from the guys that we've talked to in the West Coast League. And last year, I mean, we were treated to an absolute classic last year, a walk-off win for the North Division, Wiley Waters of USC Upstate, and a walk-off win for the North Division squad with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. That was as good of a game as we could have asked for last year. Now you come back, and it's like, how are they going to top that this year?
That was an absolute blast, too, and just learning some of these players, right? Like, so this is a chance for them in an all-star setting, especially from a showcase point of view for these young players who, number one, it could be a situation where they're in the transfer portal. We just saw the draft a couple days ago. We know about the success this league has had in pushing these players out amongst 30 major league teams with all that success in the draft. But, man, what a showcase, what a stage for these young men, especially, too, as that game got on last year. But you're right, I don't know how we're going to top it. I do know this. I'm looking forward to seeing the pitching and some of the talent. Look, the college game, especially summer ball, especially when you're talking the top 3 collegiate summer ball league, the college game has just completely shortened the gap to higher levels of professional baseball when you're talking AA, AAA, into the big leagues. And we see some of these guys come straight out of the draft into the big leagues. And so the talent is going to be at that level. So I cannot wait to watch what we see in 2025.
44 total West Coast League players were taken in the 2025 Major League Baseball first-year player draft this weekend/this week in Atlanta. 8 of those were current players. Now, of the 8 players in the 2025 West Coast League, 1 is on an all-star roster, and that is Dominic Cadiz. And if you are a college baseball fan, a Power 4 conference fan, that name will ring a bell for you. He's a UCLA product who was taken this week in the 15th round by the Milwaukee Brewers. But this is certainly far from a league that is just churning out guys in the lower rounds. In fact, the second overall pick in the 2025 Major League Baseball first-year player draft this year, Tyler Bremner, the right-handed pitcher from UC Santa Barbara, formerly a member of the Corvallis Knights, was taken by the Los Angeles Angels, and that comes a year after the 1-1 was a West Coast League product who went, of course, to the Cleveland Guardians and Travis Bazzana. So this is a league you don't turn it on thinking, all right, well, we'll see some guys who maybe are going to go play a year, 2 years of professional baseball. This league has been churning out all-stars, has been churning out Cy Young Award winners. There have been some absolute incredible talents who have come through here in recent seasons.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of them on display just the last couple of days in the All-Star Game. I mean, you think about some of the names here. First of all, Adley Rutschman with the Baltimore Orioles, Tarek Skubal, Jaron Duran, Stephen Kwan, Shane Bieber. Obviously, Travis Bazzana hasn't reached the big leagues yet, but the first overall pick. James Paxton, Mitch Haniger has had a great career, MLB All-Star, Chris Davis, Jacoby Ellsbury, Kyle Stowers, Matthew Boyd, Brooks Lee. I mean, think about some of this. And again, we talked about it the last couple of days. Tarek Skubal starting the All-Star Game. He pitched right here in the West Coast League. So we are really, really excited.
Here's a look at the defensive alignment for the North All-Stars. Devin Hernandez is going to get the nod on the pitcher's mound today, the right-hander from Cal State San Bernardino, who is in the transfer portal right now as of July 1st. He announced that on the website formerly known as Twitter. He is a Washington State native. He's from Pasco and currently pitching for these home host Bellingham Bells. And the defensive group around him, really, really talented. Now, we're going to see a whole lot of changes. It's an all-star game. We already sort of have an idea of who is going to be going into some of these slots defensively. But two guys to keep your eyes on. Let's go with three guys to keep your eyes on. Nate Kirkpatrick, who has had an outstanding 2025 season, has been really surging toward the close of, can't say the first half, because this league is actually closer to the end of the season than the beginning of the season as we play the All-Star game here on July 16th. But Kirkpatrick over at third base, Max Stagg in right field, who shares a home country with you, Ryan Rowland-Smith, an Australian out in right field, and Brock Sell in center field, a really, really good young talent who was ranked as the 65th overall draft prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, for this 2025 draft. Now, he was not taken, and that was due in large part to the fact that he has a pretty solid commitment to go play college ball at Stanford. So, I mean, that's just some of the talent that's on display for the North today. And for the South on the other side, one of the guys who you're really going to want to watch, in addition to the starting pitcher from Willamette University, Stephen Verespi, is the guy in right field, Josh Slikard, who is leading this league in pretty much every offensive category that you could imagine, in home runs and runs batted in. Not the biggest guy in the world, another guy who's in the transfer portal, but really exciting player, Josh Slikard out in right.
Yeah, there is so much talent in these two teams. But we're going to see a lot of, obviously transition. We saw this in the MLB All-Star Game just a couple days ago. Everyone's going to get a chance, obviously a couple innings each. From the pitching standpoint, they're just going to keep rolling out arm after arm every single inning. So really, really excited about that.
You know, we were talking with Rob Nyer, the commissioner of the league, a little while ago, and I was saying to Rob, one thing about doing an All-Star Game broadcast is you always want to be able to touch on a storyline or two with each player. Everybody moves so quickly through these games, that's not possible, but there are so many amazing storylines that we're going to get a chance to touch on tonight as you see all of the representatives of all of these teams getting a chance to take their pictures together, some reps from, I mean, as far away as you can imagine in the baseball world in terms of the hometowns of these players, where guys grew up, where they're currently playing collegiate ball, and of course, a massive Canadian contingent here with the amount of teams in the West Coast League that are located in Canada, essentially the entirety of the North Division. If you are not familiar with the West Coast League, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, there are squads that are throughout the states of Washington and Oregon, and a really good contingent north of the border. All of those teams, as you would expect, are in the North Division. And of the North Division squad, the Bellingham Bells, the host team for this event here in 2025, as well as last summer. The Edmonton Riverhawks, the Kamloops North Paws, the Kelowna Falcons, the Nanaimo Night Owls, the Port Angeles Lefties, the Victoria Harbor Cats, and the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Of all of those teams, I feel like I would want to be a Night Owl. If I had to pick, you, I know, would be a Port Angeles Lefty.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I love that name. But again, look, Portland Pickles, they pop up on the old social feed.
Do.
Literally every day. They've got something new going on. So you see all that Pickles, some of the cool merch. By the way, at Seattle Mariner games, you see plenty of the Pickles merchandise. A lot of people coming up from Portland. But, the one thing about this league as well, Tyler, is it reminds me so much of being in the Northwest League that used to be for me in A-ball. The travel. I mean, this is a grinding schedule. This is a situation where you get done with your college your college season. A lot of these guys, too, if they didn't get the playing time, they get a chance to come out here in summer ball, or if they're looking to go from JUCO to 4 years, it's such great exposure, or obviously for the draft. But, man, you get done with that season, and guess what? You go to summer ball. The level is high because it's essentially some of the best players from around the schools that you played against, right? And you have that. Then next thing you know, man, you're on that bus up and down that West Coast into Canada. Man, it gets you ready for A ball, that's for sure.
You know, it's interesting you pointed out being in the Northwest League as a player early on in your career, and we talked about the North Division teams. South Division, the Bend Elks, the Corvallis Knights, Cowlitz Black Bears, the Portland Pickles, as mentioned, the Ridgefield Raptors, Springfield Drifters, Walla Walla Sweets, and the Yakima Valley Pippins. There is a lot of travel. I mean, if you're going to go from the farthest south point in the league to play those North Division teams, you do get acclimated, and this is something that the West Coast League does so extremely well. You get acclimated to a lot of the stuff that you're going to face in your professional career in minor league baseball, and that's changed somewhat. Nowadays, of course, there's a week-long homestand for each minor league team. Monday is off. It's not quite the same way it was when you were playing, when I was broadcasting in the minors. Well, all right, we got 3 games here tonight in Yakima, and then we got to get on the bus because we got 4 games starting tomorrow, in Eugene or whatever it is. But you still learn all of those lessons as a young player in the West Coast League, and that's really valuable stuff to have as your career gets started.
Yeah, it really is.
So for this second consecutive West Coast League broadcast of this All-Star Game that we get a chance to do from here at Joe Martin Field, once again, the North Division will be the home team. There you see a meeting of the minds with the head coach of the Bellingham Bells, Ed Nags, and it is a head coach in Collegiate Summer League. We'll probably throw the managerial term in there as well. But Ed Nags, the leading man for the North All-Stars, and Mark Magdaleno of the Portland Pickles on the other side. This squad led by a guy who was able to dethrone the Corvallis Knights last year as the champions of the league. Magdaleno leading his team, the Portland Pickles, to a league championship. I feel like I got in good with him because he told me after we talked before the game, I said, all right, Mark, good to meet you. And he said, hey, everybody who knows me calls me Mags.
Oh,
so I feel like that's good.
Yeah,
if I got the nickname permission, I call you Hyphen, and you still refuse to let me do that. But I do it on a regular basis.
I like it.
But the plate meeting underway as these two sides exchange lineup cards, and we will get set for the national anthem and all the rest from here at Joe Martin Field. It is a beautiful day in Bellingham, just as it was last year. I hear so much about the gray and the rain and everything. Every time I show up in the Pacific Northwest, I'm probably being duped because it's incredible every time I come. I would imagine it's not always the case, but it always seems to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming at the best time of year, Tyler. You get that, by the way.
You're saying like January, February, probably not the same.
Woo. Yeah. It's anyone who is from this area tuning in, they know exactly what we're talking about. Anyone who just cherry picks the times to come to the Northwest, especially too, by the way, the MLB baseball season when guys come into town and go, oh man, this is absolutely beautiful. Like, yeah, hang on, just be here in beginning of April. All right.
All right, I'll at some point maybe make a trip. Obviously I'm not going to try to schedule time with the important Ryan Rowland-Smith, but as we get set to go for our national anthem and lineup announcements and all that, we will step aside and bring you the start of this game, the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game, coming up from Joe Martin Field. Excited to be with you as we get ready to roll here from Bellingham, Washington. Gotcha.
mascots. Making his debut in the West Coast League. First off, representing the Marion Berries, it's Bellingham Bells. Next up, representing the Bellingham Bells, Vinny. Now representing the Black Bears, it's Corby. Representing the Richmond Raptors, Rowley. Representing the Rowland Knights, it's Mac and Will King. Representing the Rowland-Smith, Sweet Blue. Representing the Yakima Valley Pippin, Scott T. Pippin. And representing the Portland Pickles, Dylan. And now the South All-Stars, beginning with the reserves. Representing the
One of the most important moments of any All-Star showcase, the mascot introductions on the third and first base side as the 16-team West Coast League gets ready to go for its second consecutive All-Star showcase here in Bellingham, Washington. And back at the home of the Bellingham Bells, Joe Martin Field, Tyler Maun, Ryan Rowland-Smith. Ryan, one of the coolest moments in any ball player's career, opening day, an All-Star game, postseason games, the announcement that involves going down the line, the handshakes and fist bumps. How cool was that moment for you when you were a player?
Oh, it's awesome. Especially you mentioned opening day too. I get a chance to have multiple opening days in the major leagues. In Seattle with the Mariners, obviously do it really good with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Matter of fact, I did it when you and I first met for the first time in Colorado.
One of your life's highlights.
That's right. Yeah, I got to meet you pre-game, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I met the Tyler Maun, the voice. But no, it's the best. It is the best, especially when you got family in town. You can hear them cheering for you amongst some of the other people. It's the best. But it's in an all-star game like this, playing against some of your peers who are some of the best in the league you're playing. It just lifts you. It's one of the best moments you'll have as a player.
You know what, to me, has got to be the coolest thing for guys like this in this type of environment is they come from such varied backgrounds in terms of, guys who are playing at the junior college level or headed to play at the junior college level. We have guys on this roster who have not yet played collegiate baseball, high school products who are headed into college, as we were talking about with Brock Sell. But we also have Power 4 conference talent as well. And for so many of these guys, you're not going to see a lot of these players ever again after this season or next season. Sharing this experience together is really cool.
Yeah, no, it's the best. And I think, too, look, whether you're someone here, and I've been amongst them, a lot of these Australian kids are in junior college. Max Stagg being one of them, Central Arizona, pretty sure in a matter of days, maybe matter of weeks, he's essentially going to commit from this league because he's putting up such good numbers to a big 4-year school. But he's at Central Arizona, so you're in that that junior college level, and then you look around and go, hold on, I'm playing against some of the players who are at where I want to be. And like I said too, the exposure, nothing beats the exposure at this level too, because the scouts are watching you play and level up with some of the other players that are at that higher level of collegiate baseball who are about to go through the draft and everything else. So it's a huge opportunity. And, of course, when you make this all-star team, man, what a buzz.
All right, Ryan, one of the things that is most exciting for us this year is that we have access to TrackMan data for tonight, and we're going to see a whole bunch of different arms. Essentially, the plan for each of these teams is to go with a different pitcher inning by inning, and you'll get a chance to diagram and break down a lot of what these guys are doing. When you are, and I know obviously, it's going to be different for a collegiate summer league than it would be for, let's say if we still had minor league baseball all-star games or the major league all-star game, you are showcasing a lot of different things only in that one inning opportunity. What are you looking at analyzing about pitchers when they go out? There are a lot of scouts in the building tonight. Obviously, there are going to be, coaching staffs watching around the country who might have an eye on, do we want to make a play for this guy or that guy? If you're a pitcher going out, what's your mindset coming into a game like tonight, especially if you're Devin Hernandez and Steven Perespi, the starters?
Well, I think that you got to remember one thing. Look, when you're in your early 20s, you come out of this and you're like, what? I just want to absolutely empty the tank and unleash, go max effort. However, you have to know this. that when scouts are watching you, they've watched hundreds, if not thousands of players. They want to see what you do in the seconds in between you letting go of that baseball. And I say this to young players all the time. Look, you can go max effort, or you can show whatever that is when you're talking about velocity and the spin, some of the the vertical and horizontal break on some of your pitches and all that. But show me what is going to separate you is what you show me in between those pitches. So what I want to see tonight from some of these players, if you're watching at home, pay attention. What's their presence like? What's their makeup like? When they walk off, when they give up a hit, how do they react? Some of these things, especially too, when you're going to go play, you mentioned some of the Power 4 conference schools or some of these big D1 schools, how are they going to react when they're on the ropes? And again, getting to the major leagues, man, all you have to do is go and look and say, okay, what separates that really good pitcher to the guy who is at the top of his game? What does he do with runners in scoring position, guys on base, high leverage situations? So that's one thing to look at. Now, I love this TrackMan data we're going to have a look at. We'll dive into some of it, what's important, what you're looking for and everything else besides the velocity. But take a look at some of that makeup. I think it's really important.
The other thing, too, is when you find yourself in a spot where you're not necessarily throwing to a catcher that you've ever worked with before, you're facing a lot of hitters with a lot of different approaches from a lot of different teams, there is not so much of, I would imagine, the scouting report of, if it's a Thursday night and you're going out in a matchup between, Portland and Walla Walla, you're going to have an idea of here's how I want to attack this lineup 1 through 9. That's not necessarily always going to be the case in an All-Star Game type of setting, so you have to be able to adapt to that.
Yeah, for sure. And again, too, look, you are running on adrenaline in one of these games as well. Let's not forget. That adrenaline is going to give you that little extra kick. By the way, these mascots right now, we're going to take a look at some of these outfits and some of the big-time mascots. We just saw a cartwheel come out. But listen, it's one of these ones that, you know what, when I'm facing the best hitters in an all-star situation and I get that good four-seam with that good high spin at the top of the strikes and I get that swing and miss, and then you walk off and you stick that chest out, you have that presence, man, those little moments are going to be the separator.
If you had to put on one of these mascot outfits... Which we're doing. By the way, it's a beautiful day, and especially from my standpoint, I feel like it's a pretty mild day. That's an all artificial turf field here at Joe Martin Field. It is toasty.
It's hot.
On the field. And, of course, a little bit in the broadcast booth was, as we noted, a ballpark that faces southwest, so the sun's coming in. I don't envy the mascots at the moment, but I feel like, Dylan the Pickle. How can you go against dressing up like a giant pickle?
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, look, these mascots, you talk about the players working hard, the grind, everything. Remember, when you're putting on a show, especially like, the Portland Pickles, like I said, jump on the social media feed every single day. When you're putting on a show like that, dude, there's no going behind the stands and resting. No taking the gear off. It's full 1 through 9, baby, and you are just getting after it. You better be able to do some cartwheels, some gymnastics, and entertain a crowd who are there. Just, by the way, sometimes they're there to see you just as much as they are the players.
We are closing in on first pitch here from the home of the Bellingham Bells, Joe Martin Field. We, of course, in just a few moments will step aside for the national anthem. But, Ryan, the other thing that's such an awesome element of games like this is the friends and family element. And for so many of these players, I remember this was the same way last year, the amount of people who were here wearing the jersey of their son or their brother or their nephew or whoever it is who's playing in this game. This is the biggest stage for a lot of these guys that maybe they've played on to this point.
Right.
And you know what it's like having done it in the World Baseball Classic, having done it in the major leagues. Playing in front of your family just carries such a different weight, too.
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, look, as you hear the cheers right now with some of the more local players. But let's not forget, too, you send your kid off to school. They've obviously been recruited from some place, maybe not so local. You're not always going to get, if you're from Seattle, to go to UW or whatever it may be. And so all of a sudden summer rolls around. Oh, by the way, Mum and Dad, I'm playing summer ball. So you get a chance. Look, it's a great thing for the career, but it's tough to – I'm a father. Tyler, I've got 2 young kids. They're not at the college age just yet. I'm not quite that old, but one day they will be. And, like my mum had to send me off to another country. It's tough. But, however, you get to a place like this, you're super proud of your kids and playing in a college All-Star game like the West Coast League All-Star game. And, man, it's got to feel good to watch your son take the field and line it up.
What's really cool, too, is getting a chance to see the ovations tonight for the local players, as Ryan noted, not just guys who are from this area, but players who play for the Bellingham Bells. And one of the things that we've loved over the last couple of years here is seeing the way this Bellingham community really embraces this team, because it's not just, it's a good night out at the ballpark, and, we'll go because it's fun and it's affordable. This is a fan base, and you could say this for the 16 teams around the league. These fans really care about this team. They care about game results. They want to win this league championship, and they want the best for the guys who are on their roster. And so when you hear these big cheers, and there are 3 starters in the lineup today from this Bellingham Bells team, it's because these fans are really invested in what is going to be the road forward for these players, and they've adopted these guys as their own in these summer seasons. Getting close to national anthem time as Nate Kirkpatrick is announced to the crowd here in Bellingham. He is actually the son of the team owners here in Bellingham, and had a 5-hit game just a few days ago. I mean, right before we headed into this All-Star break, which comes at, as we noted a little while ago, almost the 2/3 or 3/4 mark of this 2025 season here in the West Coast League. It is not the midway point. They are a 54-game league, but a league that has already passed, basically is left with about 2.5 weeks left in the season. And so for this 2025 campaign, obviously a time for a lot of players around the league to be able to soak in what they've done and be on the stage. But it's crunch time coming up here in the West Coast League as the postseason picture comes into focus for 2025. For now, it is national anthem time as we step aside and send it down to the field to honor the United States and Canada from here in Bellingham.
The Sea Cadets is the Navy's youth development program. The mission of the Sea Cadets is to build leaders of character. Fans of this side, please join us in singing of O Canada and stay standing for the American National Anthem directly after, sponsored by Construction Supply Company. Tonight's performer is Ella Dowling. Ella is an incoming senior at Bellingham High School and sings with their school's chamber choir, the Showstoppers.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all God's command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, our true north, strong and free. Oh,
Back at Joe Martin Field, the home of the Bellingham Bells. The national anthem's in the books as we get ready to go. The North and South All-Stars squaring off from here in beautiful Bellingham, Washington, and back inside our sun-splashed broadcast booth. Tyler Maun, the former big leaguer Rowland-Smith. We have a flyover, not a military flyover today, but just a helicopter flyover, which is going to kick off the first pitch festivities here momentarily. The players broke away from the lines. The mascot's still in perfect formation, which is something I very much appreciate.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, this is such a nice showing of the mascots, too. By the way, I'm a huge fan of mascots. I used to be scared of mascots, by the way.
Okay.
When I was a kid.
Okay.
But I love them. By the way, my dad back in Australia was obsessed with mascots, especially up and down the minor leagues. But we've got some good ones out here. This is great. Look, you got the Walla Walla Onion out there.
The newest team in this the West Coast League is an entrant from Oregon, and the big purple-headed mascot that you see leaving the field right now. The 2025 season has brought so many different elements to this West Coast League campaign, but I don't know how to get around the fact that the names in this league are, spectacular, from the Bells all the way through the Sweets. The 2025 season has seen a whole bunch of headlines surrounding players from this West Coast League, as we noted with the draft selections and everything else. I don't know if I actually said the name, by the way, of the newest team in the West Coast League, the Marion Berries, who that was the mascot who was wandering away a moment ago. But I think that's the thing that we learned last year with this league, Ryan, is so impressive, is that the guys who you see on this field today could be superstars in Major League Baseball just a few years from now. Tarek Skubal pitched for the Kitsap Blue Jackets, a team that's no longer in this league, but that was in 2014. That was, in his collegiate career, a guy who obviously went to Seattle University, so familiar with this part of the country, and made his bones early on in this part of the country, and now is a superstar. Started the All-Star Game, won a Cy Young. These guys are not that far from those potential stages. Yeah, right. And as we take a look at Devin Hernandez right now from Cal State San Bernardino, 6'1", 175 pounds, righties from Pasco, Washington. But really good 2024 season. But the situation now, this is his second year with the Bellingham Bells here, and now here he is pitching in the All-Star Game. So getting a chance to start this one off, and we'll get a chance to see what he looks like, especially when you're talking from the data standpoint, from the TrackMan, what kind of velocity we're seeing, and everything go with it. Devin Hernandez will go to work against two Portland Pickles right out of the gate, as Petey Soto Jr., the shortstop, will lead things off, and then Kyle McDaniel, the second baseman. The UCLA Bruin and the Walla Walla Sweet Dominic Cadiz is the designated hitter, batting out of the 3 spot. And, you touched on it a little while ago, Ryan, to be in an All-Star appearance and be getting the starting nod, there is a lot of managing the energy, the adrenaline, all of that, because you do want to go out and put everything on display, but you more than likely only have a handful of batters that you're going to see. And so the emphasis on getting outs, being effective, and the way you comport yourself is so important. Yeah, it's huge. And again, look, we're already seeing Devin Hernandez in some of these warm-up pitches. He's going to be low 90s with that fastball, probably let it deep, maybe try and touch a 93, 94. And he's got a right about average spin on that fastball. But we'll see. And a couple other things, too. Look, when you have a situation, especially in 2023 to 2025, now scouts have all this TrackMan data that we're looking at right now. They can see some of the extension, some of the vertical and horizontal break, some of those differentiators with the fastball, and to go along with some of the breaking pitches. And the first pitch of the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game is rifled in at 6:44 in the evening, and we are underway with ball one to Petey Soto Jr. Petey Soto is a product, or a player, I should say, currently, not yet a product, at Utah Tech, a school that was formerly known as Dixie State University. If you think, I don't think I've heard of Utah Tech before. They just recently rebranded over the last couple of years. And Soto this season has been really good for the Portland Pickles. Overall, 33 games, a .299, .410, .402 slash line, and a guy who has played really solid defense, getting the nod as he pops this one over to first, and the catch made over there by Trent Lenahan. And out number 1 is in the books here in the top half of the first inning. That'll bring up Kyle McDaniel, the Pickles teammate, as that baseball heads off to the West Coast League's archives. And Kyle McDaniel gets set to step in. McDaniel, like his teammate Soto, 33 games this year, and his slash line outstanding. 375, 510, 483 for the second baseman wearing the Portland green, and he takes strike 1 out of the right arm of Devin Hernandez. Hernandez started this season out of the bullpen, made a couple of appearances as a reliever to kick off his campaign. He has started all 5 games since. And he's ahead 0-2 on Kyle McDaniel. 2 scoreless starts so far this season. He has not allowed more than 3 runs in any appearance, and only did that in one of his starts so far this year. As he kicks and comes home on 0-2, and he blows that one by the waving bat of McDaniel for strikeout number 1.
Yeah, that was a changeup. Wasn't the best executed, located pitch up in the strike zone, but you saw that really good arm speed. You're talking 92, 93 on the fastball, then 85 on that change. And that would get him caught out in front.
By the way, as velocity goes, we had a fan stop us downstairs a little while ago and just went for it with Ryan Rowland-Smith and said, "How hard could you throw right now?"
He did. That's right.
I liked that.
Man.
I liked it.
Well, it's a lose-lose answer, whatever I give it. Because if I'm going to be bluntly honest, look, I haven't thrown a pitch as max effort for a long time.
Dominic Cadiz, the UCLA Bruins, swings and can't get a piece there. It's 0-2.
It's going to be a situation where I'm like, look, 83, that's not impressive. but I'm telling you, for me, look, dude, I'm 42 years old. It is kind of impressive, but it's just a lose-lose, put it that way.
Designated hitter from the Walla Walla Sweets awaits the 0-2 pitch. And that one's upstairs for ball 1. Man, what a week to be somebody like Dominic Cadiz, who was taken in the 15th round by the Milwaukee Brewers just a couple of days ago, and now gets to play in an All-Star game. 1-2, bounced foul. I could probably be like, I'd sit 86, 88 right now.
Yeah, I should just be like, 92s, 95s. Start making things up.
A ball and 2 strikes on Cadiz. Hernandez bounces that one, but Andrew Lamb, who's behind the plate, happy with that location. Gave the fist bump out to the right-hander who kicks and comes home again on 2-2. And a grounder over to third, where Nate Kirkpatrick will wrap up this inning with a 5-3 putout. So a steady 1-2-3 orderly first for Devin Hernandez, who gets a hug from Andrew Lamb as he heads off on the first base side, and that will send us to the bottom of the first inning. 3 up, 3 down goes the South. And as we go to the bottom of 1, South scoreless in the North Division All-Stars coming up in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game from Joe Martin Field in Bellingham, Washington. Well, we mentioned the Marion Berries as the newest team in the West Coast League in 2025, and it is the Berries starting pitcher, Stephen Verespi, who gets the nod here as the South Division starter in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game from Bellingham, Washington. 6'2", 215 right-hander from Willamette University, and a guy who has been really, really good so far this season, Ryan, to get this starting nod.
Yeah, it really has. Look, he's been consistent, too. And you go back the last couple of years for Willamette University in Salem, Oregon, but getting a chance here in the West Coast League All-Star Game to start the game. It's always a special thing. We know that if you're starting that All-Star Game. But excited to see him as we see him getting the chance to get set to take on the North All-Stars.
You know, it's kind of interesting in talking with players and the coaching staffs of these teams. Mark Magdaleno is the South All-Stars manager, the head coach here in 2025. He said, yesterday I sat down and I wrote out our lineup, and in my mind, I'm writing out a lineup with, all right, it's one game, it's winner take all. We have to have our best guys on the field at the end of the game. But then I started thinking to myself, well, no, it's an all-star game. The guys who deserve the honor of starting are the guys who I want to make sure get that honor, as the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning is therefore a called strike to the leadoff man, Tanner Beltowski. And that, there are not any cooler things that you're going to be able to put on your resume as a young ball player than, I got the nod to start in an all-star game.
Right.
Very cool stuff today for Verespi. Beltowski, who leads off for his team today, 28 games so far this season, a .333 hitter with a .476 average and a 476 on base percentage and a .500 slugging percentage. Count 2-1 on him. Beltowski from the Victoria Harbor Cats.
That was a big breaking ball right there, too. I think one thing about Verespi, just seeing him straight away and looking at some of the numbers, the shortest start he's had was 5 innings, so he is getting deep into the games for this team.
And that game, the only time this season in which he has pitched fewer than 6 innings, and he's got a strikeout of Beltowski for out number 1.
Yeah, we saw the repertoire there as well, that big 12-6 breaking ball, and then a changeup, right changeup. So you can see he's got 3 to 4 pitches he can mess around with. Bit of sink on that fastball, 6'2" frame.
So that will bring up Ryan's countryman, Max Stagg. You got a chance to
That's
talk
right. You
with
better
Max.
pitch around him a little bit. You better go secondary pitches.
Edmonton Riverhawks outfielder. What do you tell us the Max Stagg scouting report?
Well, I think with Max, he's a really good athlete. And a lot of his players that come out of Australia, a lot of times when they get to the United States.
Oh, what a catch in center field. Diving Blake Wilson there to rob Max Stagg of a base hit, and 2 gone in the first.
Now, I was just about to say, built on athleticism as we see this play in center field. This is unreal. By the way, too, look, first inning, sometimes in that first inning, too, you're still trying to get your bearings. You got some light situations going on, and so get a really good jump right there, able to make that catch.
Man, what a terrific play by Blake Wilson out in center field, as the South has retired the first 2. The North sends to the plate. And that brings up Andrew Lamb, the Bellingham Bells catcher, getting a chance to start in the 3-hole on his home field. A ball and a strike on him here. Lamb, another Power 4 guy from USC. And son of a former major leaguer. As he shoots this one down the left field line. That'll touch down. It's a fair ball, and it curls into the corner. Lamb flying around first base, digs for second, and he's in there with a 2-out double to get the North Division rolling here in the bottom of 1.
A really good piece of hitting. Let that ball get a little deeper on him. We see this from lefties against righties. Some of the best hitters in the game have the ability to just let that ball get a little deeper, especially when you're facing, someone on the mound who's going to mix 3 to 4 pitches in any count. Let that ball get a little deeper, pick up that spin, Slap it in the left field.
So with 2 gone, a man in scoring position. Sets it up for Logan Shepard of the Victoria Harbor Cats. Shepard hails from Olympia, Washington, playing his college ball at Mercer University. That's where he's headed next year. Spent 2025 at Tacoma in the JUCO ranks, Tacoma Community College.
Look, Tyler, we talked about, when you're essentially showcasing, right? Yes, this is an all-star game, but there is a lot at stake here because you're showcasing. Now, all of a sudden, Verespi's in a 2-strike count. This is one of those moments where it's like, all right, if I can go fastball at the top of the strike zone, he's sitting 89 right now. Can I pop a 91, 92 just to show that velocity and go back to that pitchability? There it is. And again, this is what I'm talking about too. Look, you want to check all the boxes, right? When you've got professional scouts or you've got a 4-year school or you might be in that transfer portal, show that pitchability, but when the times are right in games like this, rear back, empty the tank a little bit, especially too, by the way, the fact you're just throwing the 1 inning.
No balls and 2 strikes here on Shepard. Verespi kicks and comes home, and up and in. Andrew Lamb, the son of the 10-year big leaguer Mike Lamb, out there at second base after the double. A closed stance for Shepard, trying to battle on 1-2, and he fights another one off foul.
Yeah, we saw him go to that plus changeup with 2 strikes to get that first strikeout of the game. Bury a breaking ball right here and show that pitch off.
Verespi trying to finish off Shepard, and the 1-2 moves onto the outside corner for a called strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Stephen Verespi. He strands a man in scoring position, and that'll do it for the North in the bottom half of the first inning. We will head to the second. Man left on for the North Division, but scoreless through 1 at the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game from Bellingham, Washington.
From probably age 1, Adley was around the Knights program.
I remember traveling with him all over the place. Getting to experience baseball at that young of an age is really a cool memory to have. I want to be out there, I want to be catching fly balls and just kind of around the guys,
He would wear socks like the Knights. My wife asked, "Why are you putting those socks on, Adley?" He goes, "Well, if somebody gets hurt, I have to be ready to go and play."
With Randy, who was one of our original coaches on the Knights, Adley was always around. Rutch would call, say, "Hey, would it be okay if Adley came down and caught some bullpens?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome, Rutch." And he'd catch college kids. I think he was like 13, 14, 15 years old. It's just like, oh man, but he did it, and he was pretty good at that position.
And he went from being a pitcher going into Oregon State. They saw him as a catcher, and so he needed to see speed of play, and I thought, well, if he's with the Knights, he's going to get to catch some good arms in the bullpen. But, Brooke and Dan put him on the field right away, and we were kind of, whoa, shoot, he's playing.
I had a blast playing for the Knights. A very fond memory for me. It was a good learning experience. Just kind of transition from high school to college can be so difficult, and they really helped ease that for me.
All right, here is Adley Rutschman. His dad, Randy, is going to be the guy to throw into him.
Starts
And
throwing
his
off.
first one goes.
Oh my goodness.
To play home run derby with him for so many years, to be able to come out here and do it, the coolest thing you could really ask for.
Top half of the second inning and a new arm into the game for the North Division All-Stars. A guy who hails from the Netherlands, has represented Dutch national teams across the globe, and is onto the pitcher's mound for inning number 2. Gio DeGrau kicks and deals ball 1 down low. He'll go to work against Madison Risky, who leads things off here in the top half of the second inning for the South. Tyler Maun, Ryan Rowland-Smith. DeGrau.
Man, that is so
stud.
cool, Tyler. I mean, look, we do a lot of international baseball. We've had a chance to do the World Baseball Classic. We got a chance in the last WBC seeing the Netherlands in Taiwan in that pool play. And, you know, you slowly but surely start to see some of these internationals, instead of going the pro route straight out of high school, getting a chance to play college baseball. It used to be so rare, but you're seeing it more and more. We talked about Max Stagg in that first inning. But this is so cool to see, getting the chance to have this experience coming all the way from the Netherlands.
Gio was a member of the Netherlands U18 and U23 national teams, and U23s, that was just last September in Shaoxing, China, as the pitch sailed up and over the 5-hole hitter for the South Division, and a guy who we are going to spend a whole lot of time talking about tonight, we would think, because he has put together the most impressive campaign of arguably anybody on either of these rosters, and that is the Portland Pickles outfielder Josh Slikart, who has a really, really interesting backstory, and a guy who right now is looking for a home as a ball player, a transfer portal entrant after playing this past season at Vanguard University, and man, has put together just a ridiculous season so far this year. Among the categories that he is leading the league in, 15 home runs and 50 runs batted in through 34 games. He matched the single season home run record in this league at 15, less than half of the way through the season. And crushes a liner to left field. That'll touch down for the first base hit of the day for the South Division. So Josh Slikart, I mean, the guy who he draws a comparison to right now in your mind is Cal Raleigh. And last night during the All-Star Game, heard John Smoltz on the Fox broadcast say, you know, it's just a guy who is so in tune with the bat right now, and that's been the whole season for Josh Slikart.
Right. Yeah, you can see right there. I mean, just a really comfortable approach at the plate. Really comfortable in his stance and just ripping that ball middle up in the strike zone in the left field.
So with 1 out and 1 on, that brings up a Corvallis Knight, Blake Wilson. It has been a dynasty in Corvallis for the last, better part of the last decade, in terms of the champions of this league. The championship series was won every year from 2016 through 2023 by the Corvallis Knights. But they were dethroned last year by the Portland Pickles, who took down the Wenatchee Apple Sox to win the 2024 West Coast League Championship. And with that, the manager of the Corvallis Knights, Brooke Knight, not the manager of the South Division this year, but he is still on the coaching staff. Brooke Knight, a guy who has coached baseball all over the globe, runner off from first. As Slikart tries to get into the second base bag, and head first, he's out. Great catch and tag by Talon Zank at second base, and Slikart caught stealing on the 2-4 putout.
Well, first of all, that base hit was 103 off the bat, right? And just not a really good jump, really good throw by the catcher. But again, show that speed off. You've got that speed, you can steal those bases. You're talking about him needing a home. Man, show some of those tools. Show what is that separator besides just the one thing that got you to this level. What else can I do? How can I add? How can I separate myself from the pack?
Slikart has swiped 7 bags so far this season, but unsuccessful there for the second out of this second inning. And a brief conversation between the manager on that South Division side and our umpiring crew today. Umpires for this West Coast League All-Star Game here in 2025. Jim Courtney is the crew chief behind home plate from the United States. His countryman, Lance Kreck, out at second base. And then Canadian umpires on the corners. Josiah Hansen at first base. Ethan McNamara at third. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Blake Wilson, who can't get a piece there. Nice pitch to finish him off. And that will close things out here in the top half of the second inning. Great job by Gio DeGrau after the one-out single. The caught stealing and the strikeout end things in the second. And we'll go to the bottom of the second inning in a scoreless game in Bellingham. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the WCL All-Star Game, and thank you for being here.
Moving into the bottom half of the second inning, and a new arm into the game for the South Division All-Stars as we head into inning number 2, and that is Eric Pudgenis, right-hander from the University of Michigan.
You nailed that name, by the way. Listen, Tyler was struggling with that name in the pregame. I had to help him out. Had to explain to him how to with some of these pronunciations. But good job, dude.
I always lean on you.
Yep, that's right.
Gotta make sure I go to the master for.
That's right.
For all of the pronunciation needs. Ryan, for a guy who is accustomed to starting, you went through different roles in your career, and it's a unique circumstance, as we've talked about, with an all-star game and the different things that go into it. But what is it like when you are used to being able to go through your regular routine and all of that to get ready for a start, and all of a sudden you're coming into a game and it's the second, third, or the 7th or 8th inning, whatever it is? How do you adjust to that if you're somebody like Pudgenis?
It's interesting, and it's I'm glad you brought it up, because now with the way guys prep for games is so different than what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Now, for me, it was a little easier because I always had that bullpen mentality going into starts, and that's when I was at my best, when I could kind of go into it saying, you know what, I'm going to treat this like I'm coming out of the bullpen, go as hard as I can, empty the tank for as long as I can. But for a lot of these guys now, and for a lot of starters who were just primarily starters their whole life, and that's why they struggle transitioning to the bullpen, because of exactly that. But now you see it in 2025, in the last half a decade or so. Guys have their plyo ball routine. They have all this stuff leading up to the game. So you really have to adapt. And let's not forget, too, look, this young man here, for example, he may all of a sudden, be a starter, and he's got something going on that can get him to the next level, and all of a sudden have to transition to the bullpen. So you have to be able to be flexible in that regard and be able to do multiple things. Or you could be going from a JUCO or into a 4-year school, or through the transfer portal, or whatever it may be, and have a situation where you have to be able to adapt.
Pudgenis gets a ground out there from Trent Lenahan of Edmonton. That'll bring up Tommy Markey. Markey, a member of the Port Angeles Lefties, and a Fordham Ram. One of the guys who has traveled farthest, at least in terms of his collegiate representation, to his summer league representation.
Well, a couple of reasons you play in the West Coast League. Number one, if you're at a junior college and you're looking to showcase for some of these 4-year schools, obviously the draft, this is going to be a top 3 in regards to summer ball. Obviously, you talk about the Cape Cod being that one of the most famous summer balls, that's for sure. But the West Coast League, especially for some of these really big schools out here on the West Coast, is basically in a very similar category when it comes to exposure. And the other part of this is too, look, if you didn't get enough time in that big school, you're committed to that big school, but you didn't play a whole lot as a freshman, you come out here to get a chance to play in summer and to fill up some of that void of not having a chance to play during the season.
There are a few of those guys as well who, started at bigger programs and are either transferring to smaller schools, transferring to the junior college route. And, so much of the game, and you touched on this a little bit, Ryan, just being able to get yourself in front of your potential future coaches or scouts who can find a spot for you. You're somebody who has seen, as you noted, a lot of guys who traditionally, maybe 20 years ago, would not have gone the college route, who now are able to go the college route. There are so many places where you can play baseball and continue chasing the things that you want in your career. And all of these types of stages provide opportunities for guys to find their way in front of scouts and coaches who can place them.
Yeah, and look, the other part of this is too, man. I mean, look, college baseball has changed so much, especially with the introduction of the transfer portal, where players can essentially be a little freer to move from school to school. It's not the same level of commitment from the player and from the team as well.
Tommy Markey with a grounder over to second and an easy hop there for Kyle McDaniel. 2 gone.
But look, watching this West Coast League and coming here to Bellingham, I mean, again, I had a chance to play in some of the lower levels of minor league baseball, and it just has that summer feel to it, man, where you get some cheap drinks, come out, watch really high-level baseball, and this weather's good. I mean, there's nothing better than coming out and checking out your local team and having talent right in front of you.
So 2 gone, and that'll bring up Nate Kirkpatrick. And Kirkpatrick's first swing is a bouncer out to short, where Petey Soto Jr. puts him out. 5-3, 4-3, 6-3. A very even and equitable second inning on the pitcher's mound for Pajunas, and that'll do it for the North in the second. We'll head to the third, all scoreless in Bellingham.
I knew I was going to go to Corvallis since I was in 6th grade. I had a great summer. Brooke Knight was a great coach for me. We were really good. We were a talented team. It's very meaningful baseball. Cool playing at that field, getting some fans. I think that was probably the most fans I played in front of at that time. We ended up winning it all, and then I think a few teams after that kept winning it, and just shows that they have a great staff.
Brooks Lee played a summer with the Knights prior to his freshman year at Cal Poly. He was a wizard at shortstop. I mean, we were like, wow, this guy is special. Switch hitter, hit with power. I mean, he was an absolute dude. We kind of knew that coming in. His dad is one of the best coaches in America, Larry Lee.
Are you excited to play for your dad next year at Cal Poly?
Can't wait. It's always been a dream of mine to play for my dad.
I try to send my best players to play for Brooke. I've known Dan for probably a decade and a half. They treat him well. It's a very structured program. His managing skills, I mean, it's early work. It's day after day, and they all come back better.
When you're around the game at that level for as long as he has been, you pick things up, and it's only his 2nd year in the league. For him to be so comfortable and do what he does, he's a special player.
I've gotten to see the West Coast League over the years, and they've just grown and grown, and a lot of the coaches that are coaching summer ball are really qualified, and they do a real good job, and it's one of the better summer baseball leagues in the country.
Third inning and third arm onto the pitcher's mound for the North Division is the right-hander Thomas Bridges, who will take over on the pitcher's mound. The Victoria Harbor Cats standout so far this season. 7 starts, 1-0 record, 1.48 ERA, 32 strikeouts to 4 walks in 30 1/3 innings pitched. And he comes from a baseball factory, his high school that we will talk about. Another guy who's got an interesting collegiate start to his career that we'll discuss as well as he gets set to face the 7, 8, and 9 hitters in the South Division lineup. And it will be Ben's Makoa Sniffin who leads things off, and the first pitch up and away to him for ball 1. Sniffin from St. Mary's and playing this year for the Bend Elks. So far, Makoa 31 games, 316, 369, 456 his slash line. He's not going to strike out a ton, 17 strikeouts in 31 games. 2-0 pitch on the way to him is fouled back, and man, he took a mighty hack at that one, and it's 2-1. It'll be Sniffen, then Gavin Poffenroth, who might have the best last name of anybody in this 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game. And then Xavier Rios, and we've got an item of note for Rios when he comes to the plate here in this third inning. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Sniffen. Staying alive on the foul there.
They went from 2-1 back to 2-2 because of a secondary pitch. That's another big factor that a lot of these schools, professional teams, look at that pitch ability. Can you get back in the count? And he gets to that changeup.
Another 2-2 fouled away. Man, what a great crowd tonight as well here in Bellingham. I mean, we got a few hundred people on the berms. Packed stands as well.
So, Tyler, you mentioned the baseball factory. We're talking Harvard Westlake. Talk to us.
We are.
What do you got?
And if you can have this designation when it comes to your high school career, and your high school career was at Harvard Westlake, you're doing something right, as a fly ball down the right field line is pulled in out there by Max Stagg, one away. The all-time ERA leader in Harvard Westlake history is on the pitcher's mound right now wearing the Victoria Harbor Cats uniform, and that is Thomas Bridges. Harvard Westlake produced Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, and Lucas Giolito, among many others. They were in the rotation at the same time in high school, by the way, and produced, not on the pitching side, but one of the biggest names in baseball in 2025, Pete Crow Armstrong. But yeah, if you can go to a school that produced Max Fried, Lucas Giolito, and Jack Flaherty and be like, yeah, I got the all-time ERA. That's not bad.
You're doing something right. That is for sure.
Gavin Poffenroth, who is playing his collegiate ball at Skagit Valley, sees the count go to 2 balls and no strikes on him. Poffenroth, a member of the Cowlitz Black Bears here in the West Coast League. Three balls and no strike. This might be the first 3-ball count that we have seen so far tonight.
Yeah, pitch has been really efficient, filling up the strike zone with multiple different pitches.
And the 3-0 is there over the inside part of the plate to make it 3-1. Poffenroth this season through 30 games, a .323 hitter with an .880 OPS. And really good command of the strike zone. 15 walks to 16 strikeouts for the season so far. And pops up the 3-1. This will stay on the infield, and it will be one Harbor Cat dealing to another. Is out of short. That ball pulled in by Tanner Beltowski in support of Bridges. So 2 gone. And it brings up the birthday boy, Xavier Rios. So a happy birthday to the starting catcher of the 2025 South Division All-Stars, Xavier Rios. Not a bad thing to do on your birthday.
Absolutely. Get some family in town, hopefully.
Starting not in an All-Star game.
Just need a little extra base hit to go along with it.
Rios, another Corvallis night, playing his college ball for Cal State Northridge. One of the great names in college sports, the Cal State Northridge Matadors. One pitch, big swing and a miss there.
You see Bridges touching 90, 89, 90 miles per hour.
No balls and 2 strikes here on Rios. And the 0-2 is laced to left field, a base hit. So a birthday single for Xavier Rios. Happy birthday to the starting catcher for the South. And we'll go back to the top of the order with a 2-out knock.
There you go. Look at that base hit. Wasn't a double. Wasn't a bomb. That's okay. Get on base. Nice little base hit. Celebrate that birthday.
So it does send us back to the top of the order, and the leadoff man, Peter Soto, who will get his second AB of the game. First pitch in for a strike to him. Soto popped out to first base and foul ground in his initial trip to the plate today. And lifts the 0-1 sky high. This is going to stay in the field of play and out beyond third base. Maddox risky. You didn't have to stare up into the sun with the sun out over the right field corner, and he's able to make the play for the final out of the inning. So a couple of pop-outs for Petey Soto Jr. today, and that will send us to the bottom of the third. 3 combined hits and scoreless through 2.5 at Joe Martin Field.
Smith with the look in to his catcher. Averaged 12 Ks per 9 this season in the big leagues, and he's got another one. Cade Smith has arrived in the MLB postseason. One of the best weapons a manager has.
Number 99, Andrew Vaughn.
Andrew Vaughn, a 3-run shot, his first homer of the season.
You know, it was cool to get to, travel out of the country, being from the United States, and getting to go up there and play. I thought it was really cool. Really cool town, really good atmosphere at the games. I mean, we were getting 4,000 people at some of the games.
It was a ton of fun. I mean, that stadium in Victoria was beautiful. It was a great atmosphere. They drew really well, so the crowds were a ton of fun. And then it was also cool being, not too far from home. Like, my parents were able to come out for a couple of weekends and watch me play.
That is strike 3 call.
There was definitely good arms, good bats. It was competitive baseball, I thought. Every single game we played, I felt like it was, it was a challenge. The ferry trips was the coolest, just drive the whole bus on a boat and go to a game away. Getting to see orcas swimming. My wife's always jealous. I always tell her the stories that we get to see a pot of orcas following us around. And, it's a special experience. You get to meet new people, new friends, maybe on different teams that you never would have, crossed paths with them and make lifelong friendships.
Anytime you're in a situation where you have people from all kinds of places and stages in their life and career, teammates, coaches, host family, there's a lot you can learn. I really, enjoyed my time there that summer, and then this place holds a special place in my heart for sure.
New arm into the game for the South as we head into the bottom half of the third inning. The Yakima Valley Pippins right-hander Ty Pangborn will take over on the pitcher's mound as the North Division gets its first look at this big-bodied righty for the South Division All-Stars. Headed to the bottom of the third at Joe Martin Field in Bellingham, Washington. The 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game. So happy to be with you on MLB.com and elsewhere throughout the collegiate summer league landscape. Tyler Maun, Rowland-Smith. There's not a lot of sports going on tonight. It's the night after the Major League All-Star Game. It's always the quietest sports night of the year. So if you're tuned in, wherever you're tuned in, we're thrilled to have you along with us.
Yeah, I read that.
To the bottom of the third. Yes, Brock Sell will lead things off for the home squad and the North Division's starting center fielder. First pitch, 1 up and 1 down. Sell is retired, and that'll bring up Talon Zank. The pitcher on the mound right now, Ty Pangborn from the Yakima Valley Pippins. We owe a tremendous shout out to a member of that front office, as well as a member of the host front office here, the Bellingham Bells. Zen Hill, who is the radio broadcaster for the Bellingham Bells, and Harmon Johnson, who is the radio broadcaster for the Yakima Valley Pippins. Those guys did so much work to get us broadcast notes and storylines and pronunciations and bio information and everything that you need for a broadcast. Amazing work by them. These are guys, who are
you were supposed to share that with me. I never got it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I never gave it to you. I wanted to make sure that I hogged it all for myself. But, these are guys who are at sort of the same stage in their careers as the players are.
Right.
These are guys who are college students who are working in collegiate summer leagues. They're getting the play-by-play reps, media relations. They're learning how to do, the stat packs and the game notes and all of that. And that's one of the coolest things to me about these events is coming across those guys and the young men and women who work in these front offices at the early stages of their careers as they try to make this same sort of climb.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk to any Major League play-by-play voice or someone who's done World Baseball Classics like yourself, Tyler, or someone who works in the front office. I remember talking to Justin Hollander, the GM of the Seattle Mariners, and just talking about his backstory. Driving to go get donuts for people in A-ball somewhere. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden he's running the Major League Baseball team. So everyone starts somewhere, just like these players. We're seeing these, by the way, in the ad breaks, we're seeing some of these profiles flash up of, Cade Smith, Andrew Vaughn flash up. We saw Adley Rutschman.
Shane Bieber.
And you get a chance to see them at this level, this close up, and then just years later, they're doing amazing things in the big leagues.
First walk of the day, worked there by Talon Zank of the Nanaimo Night Owls, and now a swinging bunt on the left side of the infield. Oh, what a play over at third base to try at least to get the out. That was a pickup and throw by Maddox Risky that, everything has to go perfectly in order to even have a shot at getting the out. And he doesn't get the out, but man, what a play by Maddox.
Yeah, and look, we talk about this all the time on the pitching side, emptying the tank if you have that opportunity, steal that base, whatever it may be. But especially on the defense side, the umpires are going to take potentially another look at this play or they're talking something over. But hey, look, just let it eat. Be aggressive on that infield. Flash that arm. Do whatever you got to do defensively because they're going to be the things that are going to be the separator.
So a walk and about a 45-foot single on a little bouncer and roller up the third base side. Man, what a great play over there by Maddox Risky. But now it's first and second with one out, and it sends it to Max Stagg. And Ryan, you watch Max Stagg and his approach and that stance in the batter's box, and the first person that you think of is Travis Bazzana with the way he climbs in, how that bat is cocked over his shoulder. There are a lot of similarities. It's not quite the exact same, but that is Travis Bazzana's silhouette to me.
For sure, and that's the one big upgrade too with Trav. When he was living at the Rowland-Smith estate.
Compound, I thought was what it was called.
In the basement on an air mattress, apparently, according to Trav. When you threw me under the bus. But no, hey, look, that's the one thing, obviously with his stance, that's the one thing he was trying to perfect and hit for that power. But look, you mentioned that Max Stagg, and again, we talked about this from the young man coming from the Netherlands. The amount of Aussies coming over and playing high-level college baseball, especially through the junior college ranks, Max Stagg being one of them, just tore it up this year in the West Coast League. Has a chance to go to a really good school coming up.
Travis Bazzana, a West Coast League product as well. First overall selection in the 2024 MLB first-year player draft, and a guy who is currently on a rehab assignment.
And you know what, too? Just now that we're touching on Travis Bazzana, look, I can talk about him all day. Obviously, I've known him for a long time, since he was 12. But I never forget, he was coming over to come to his freshman year.
0-2 stacked to the left side, a base hit. Rounding third base, Zank will be held there, but it's bases loaded now with one out as the North Division threatens in the third.
You see Max Stagg with that good little two-strike approach, making plus contact through the hole, getting a pitch he can handle. And all of a sudden, the North are in business. But just going back to Travis Bazzana, look, he had the opportunity to come play in the West Coast League before he even stepped foot on a college campus. And I never forget thinking, man, is this a good move? Because are you going to get overexposed because you've got such good players here? And I'm telling you, that was an absolute launching pad for him going to Oregon State. As a freshman, he got a chance to play a ton. His confidence went through the roof. And obviously, it was a big benefactor, as we know, being the first pick in the MLB draft.
First pitch is ball one there to Andrew Lamb. Lamb, as we noted, the son of the former big leaguer Mike Lamb. And a throwback sort of look from Andrew Lamb. No batting gloves for Andrew Lamb.
Love it.
Just did a quick Google image search. His dad went batting gloves. I thought maybe you just inherit that. Like my dad, 10-year big leaguer, he didn't play with batting gloves. Dad went batting gloves. I love the no batting glove look.
Who in the big leagues right now are we talking Who's going no BGs? Anyone?
Man, that is a great question.
Hit us up on social media if you can think of anyone. Yeah,
One
we had some Vlad Guerrero Sr. no batting gloves. Man, he was a scary dude. When anytime someone asked me who was the scariest guy to face in the big leagues, in a millisecond, I say Vlad Guerrero Sr.
Moises Alou, Jorge Posada.
There you go.
Famous, not only famous no batting gloves guys, but famous for the method that they supposedly used to not need batting gloves. And you can Google that if you want to know that story. Yeah, Vlad, I think the thing that was coolest about Vladdy was, I mean, obviously as the 3-1 pitch comes into Andrew Lamb and that one's on the inside corner to fill it up, he could just do anything with a baseball bat.
Yeah, and a situation, too, facing him, man. Like the scouting report, forget about it. Didn't matter. It was, I never forget, when he was playing for the Angels, he hit a line drive, nearly took the right fielder's head off. And I was giving like the fist pump because I was like, yes, I got the guy out in like 2 pitches. Thank you. I'd have to face him for another 2 or 3 innings.
It was 139 mile an hour exit velocity, but you got the out. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Great pitch there by Pangborn to get the strikeout of Lamb on the changeup. And with 2 gone now, Pangborn's got an opportunity to get out of this.
And this will be huge. We talk all about what that separator is at the highest level. Guys who can, have those kind of careers you see with a Verlander, a Kershaw. We saw a pitch just a couple days ago. What do they do when they're on the ropes? And so a situation like this, man, if you're a college recruiter or if you're a scout, what kind of presence, makeup do you have in between the pitches when you're on the ropes like he is right now and getting out of it?
So a bases loaded, 2-out situation falls to Logan Shepard. DH today, the Victoria Harbor Cats and Mercer University stand out. That pitch gets the inside corner to even it up at 1-1. Shepard in his first trip to the plate struck out looking to end the first inning. Trying to deliver here in a scoreless game in the bottom of the third. 2-1. Shepard, a .339 hitter this season, a .999 OPS. And the count goes even on him as he fouls it away.
He's going back to that changeup. Back to 2 strikes.
Two and 2 on Logan Shepard. Ty Pangborn trying to get out of this bases loaded situation in the third. 2-2 pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and the runners will be off with it. Rios shouting out to his infield as a full count offering with the runners on the move is on the way. And it's ball 4, and the North Division is on the board with the first run of the day and a 1-0 lead on the bases loaded walk.
Man, that is so tough. You get to those 2 outs, and you can see that, by the way, the base runners were taken off in a 3-2 count. I'm telling you, when you catch that, especially when you're in the windup, you got all that time to deliver that pitch, and you can see that runner right there in the corner of your eye. Man, it can really throw you off, especially when you're trying to make a pitch in 3-2.
Yeah, it's one I was going to ask you because they all got such good jumps, especially Max Stagg from first. I mean, as soon as Pangborn was into his delivery, Stagg was halfway, 2/3 of the way to second base. How often does that catch your eye in a physical? You know that the guys are going to be moving, but do you catch that when you're going into a delivery? Different for you as a lefty.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, it just feels like as a pitcher trying to execute in a spot, that's going to throw you off.
Well, especially, too, when you're going through the windup. That's slow, rhythmic. Obviously, trying to, with the windup, will give you that better rhythm. Man, you can see that runner all day just bearing in on the home plate.
So 1-1 count now on Trent Lenahan, who was retired on a ground out in his first trip to the plate. That one glanced off of the glove of Rios. Thought that might have gotten the left shoulder of Lenahan, but will stand in and get another crack. 3 balls and a strike on it. Pangborn battling it now. He has issued the first 2 walks of this game in this inning, one of them with bases loaded, and trying to avoid doing it a second time. Lenihan waiting. And the 3-1 is down for ball 4, and it is a 2-0 lead for the North in the third.
All right, you can tell he's rattled. First of all, you walk in a run. You know what's happening right now here in regards to the fact you're at this All-Star game. It's a big showcase. And you can tell now all of a sudden he's really trying to find that strike zone.
The visit to the pitcher's mound from Mark Magdaleno, the head coach of the Portland Pickles and this South Division All-Star squad, and he will go to the bullpen to summon the next arm out of that relief corps for his team. We will step aside. 2 runs home for the North Division in the bottom half of the third, and the inning continues with the bases loaded here from Joe Martin Field in Bellingham, Washington. New arm into the game for the South Division is the right-handed pitcher Jay-Sean Unger, who will try to get out of a bit of a jam here for his squad in the bottom of the third. Bases loaded and 2 outs. Couple of bases loaded walks issued by Ty Pangborn, who flashed some good stuff, but unfortunately not a real easy inning for him. It went ground out, walk, infield single, strikeout, then back-to-back bases loaded walks. And Jay-Sean Unger, sporting the number 42, will take over to try to get the final out of the inning as he goes to work here against Tommy Markey. Markey in from the left-handed hitting side. Port Angeles lefty, very fitting. Now, I know you don't have to be left-handed, obviously, to play for the Port Angeles lefties.
Yes, you do.
But I feel like it's got to be kind of a cool added element, right?
Yeah, just load up on lefties. Is that what you're saying?
If you are a lefty, I feel like that's got to be kind of cool. It's like the Ned Flanders leftorian.
I love that, man. Growing up being left-handed, Ned Flanders.
I feel like that must have been your favorite episode.
Oh, it was the best. I feel like I was right at home.
A ball and a strike on Markey. Markey grounded out to second base in his first trip to the plate as Unger, the former Nebraska Cornhusker, serves up a line drive into center field, and that's down for a base hit. In to score from third is Stagg. From second is Shepard, and 2 more onto the board. But the throw back in behind gets Lenihan, and that is the final out of the third inning. So 2 runs scored. They both count. Second run touched the plate before that tag out at second base. So 2 across make it a 4-0 game with the North Division in the lead as we head to the top half of the fourth inning at Joe Martin Field.
First inning, Kyle Slacker. Green Morning, drafted by the Minnesota Twins. First inning, Victoria Harbor Dallas Macias, drafted by the Atlanta.
Fourth spot in the bottom of the third inning for the North Division, and as we head to the top half of the fourth, those are all the runs on the board. But as we saw in last night's Major League All-Star Game, nothing's decided until it's decided. And as we head into the top half of the fourth inning, you like that one? You like that turn of phrase?
As I'm shaking my head. Yeah.
2, 3, and 4 for the South Division All-Stars. Kyle McDaniel of the Portland Pickles will lead things off. Portland's second baseman, that'll be Dominic Cadiz and Maddox Risky. Those are the three due up, we should say, here in the fourth. Starters likely to get 2 to 3 at-bats across the board before we see position player replacements. And McDaniel will be the first man into the batter's box to face the new arm into the game on the north side. And that is Mitch Haythorne. Fly ball down the left field line, well struck off the bat of McDaniel, racing toward the corner. That one gets down in the corner where it is cut off and fired back in. Great effort out there by Andrew Lamb, I believe still in left field by Markey out in left field for his squad. But it's a leadoff double for Kyle McDaniel trying to spark the South here in the fourth.
Yeah, we're starting to see some good swings all of a sudden from both these teams. We saw the North having a chance to load up the bases, score a couple runs. Good flush contact. That one getting all the way out to the wall at left field.
Mitch Haythorne is the new arm onto the mound for this North Division squad, and Haythorne, who pitches for the Wenatchee Apple Sox, plunks Cadiz. So leadoff double, followed by the hit batsman, and now it's first and second with nobody out for the cleanup hitter, Risky.
Yeah, look at Mitch Haythorne pitching at Oklahoma. Didn't get a chance to pitch, and that's why he's here in the West Coast League right now. Eaton High School, Eaton, Colorado. Your neck of the woods, Tyler.
A powerhouse high school.
Really?
The Eaton Reds, one of the best high school programs in the state of Colorado historically. Two-time first-team All-State selection. Number 6 overall player in the state of Colorado coming out of high school.
Yeah, with 45 innings, 1.99 ERA, 88 strikeouts.
It always amazes me when you look at the guys who go on to play college ball or are drafted or signed professionally, and you look at their high school numbers, and it's like, wow, this guy had an OPS of 6,000. You're like, how is that possible? This guy had an ERA of 0.21 over his high school career because he gave up one earned run as a sophomore. Struck out 1,000 guys in 100 innings. But that really, I mean, and you can tell those separator numbers in high school competition, especially in states, you know, like Colorado, that don't necessarily produce quite the same level of talent as a pop-up, will just escape the infield, and out calling and catching is Talon Zank at second. So Risky is retired, and that's the all-important first out of the inning for Haythorne. And that will bring in the big right-handed bat of Josh Slikart, who had the single to left field in his first trip to the plate. Runners off of the pitch. Slikart takes it, throw to second with nobody covering, nearly escaped past Zank. It's a great job by Talon Zank to keep that thing from getting into center field. But a double steal in the All-Star game. Kyle McDaniel and Dominic Cadiz swipe third and second respectively, and now a 2 RBI situation, although for Slikart it's always the potential to add him driving in himself. League leading 15 home runs and 50 RBI so far this season, and he tried to check his swing there. That pitch was a strike anyway. It's 1-1. From the the windup. And Haythorne gets a pop that'll stay in fair territory, and calling to make the catch is Zank. Tagging at third, McDaniel bluffed but held, and as that ball escapes, he's safely atop the third base bag, so 2 gone. That'll bring up Blake Wilson. And man, retiring Josh Leichhardt that feels like a accomplishment in itself. 336, 463, 718 his slash line this season through 34 games. But he is dispatched as a threat here in the 4th, and that'll send it to Blake Wilson with 2 gone. Big cut and miss there from Wilson. It's 0-1.
Mitch Haythorne's dad played basketball. Cal State University. Excuse me, Colorado State University.
CSU Pueblo, the Thunderwolves.
Uh-oh.
Which used to be known as the University of Southern Colorado. I'm not sure when Mitch's dad would have been there.
92 to 93 season.
92, 93. It still would have been
Pueblo.
Southern Colorado back
28
then.
games.
What was his points per game?
He had. I'm dead serious. I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I love it. Look, when you have, a college athlete like we're seeing here, and we're seeing a couple already in this All-Star game. You see what the parents are doing, man. You can see some of those genes, especially if it's from a different sport. I love looking that up.
That is extremely true, and we've got those players all across this West Coast League All-Star game, and we will talk about them a little bit more. But the son of the former Hooper able to get out of the jam. The leadoff double and hit batsman do no damage as the strikeout of Blake Wilson wraps things up in the 4th. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning, the North Division with a 4-0 lead over the South from Bellingham.
My experience at West Coast League was fun. It was a big difference going from California over there to Walla Walla, Washington. And the crowds were actually really good for such a small town. They really showed up for us, and everybody was very welcoming. It was an awesome experience.
How much does speed play a factor in your game here?
Oh, it's a huge factor. Ball in the gap or just even a CNI single. If you get out of the box good, you can even try and stretch to a double sometimes.
Durant hits that hard into the gap. Here goes Durant. He's blazing around second. Into third. It's a 2-run triple. Jaron Durant, a triple to the gap in right center.
For me, that summer was about embracing new teammates and embracing new challenges because you're seeing different types of pitchers and really fast-paced, a lot of bunting, some new positions, new skills. Kind of helps with leadership and getting to know guys, and it was a good development for me in a lot more aspects than I expected. That was some of the best coaching staff that I've had. Back then, I was a second baseman. I thought if I just played really good second base, I'd be able to stay there, but they better use me in the outfield, which is awesome. I'm loving it now.
On the defensive side, you've been making some pretty good plays. You've been playing really all over the field now.
Hit coming on Durant, diving ahead, he's got it. What can he do at this point? Wow, changing the game both offensively and defensively, that's huge.
JD's one of my best friends in the organization. He's just such a hard worker. He's super intense on the field, but he's completely different off of it. He's really laid back, relaxed, loves to have fun, brings such a good rapport and demeanor to the clubhouse.
Jayshon Unger will continue on the pitcher's mound for the South Division as we head into the bottom of the 4th inning, and he'll get a look at Nate Kirkpatrick, who will lead things off for the North. Tyler Maun, Ryan Rowland-Smith. We are through 3.5 in this 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game, and having some fun at Joe Martin Field, the home of the Bellingham Bells. The sun is at least sliding farther into foul territory. It's not quite as much straight into the booth. But you brought up a point before the end of the top half of this inning about the amount of athletes on this roster who are the sons of former athletes themselves. Mm-hmm. Nate Kirkpatrick leading things off against Jayshon Unger. Jayshon Unger, perfect example. His mother, Kayla, played college softball, and his aunt, Krista Wood, is currently the head softball coach at Creighton University in Omaha. He's a Nebraska guy from Blair, Nebraska, bouncing ball over to his Corvallis teammate, 1 up, 1 down. But it's so fascinating how much, and obviously, Your kid's got a lot of pressure now.
Man,
well, the kids of a former big leaguer. But it is true. I mean, when you have a parent who knows how to do it or knew how to do it at a high level, there is so much of that filters down to kids.
Yeah, but it's one of these ones you look at, and especially, we saw Jacob Wilson in the All-Star game last couple of days, and it was cool. Jack Wilson, his dad, him and I were teammates for a couple of years, and I know Jack really well. He was so heavily involved in Jacob's career when he's going on to GCU, especially in the high school prep and everything else, to the point where he was actually out coaching his son at Grand Canyon University, took the hitting coach job.
Roxelle bounces out over to first base.
But it's one of these ones, and look, I'm a parent. I got a 6 and a 10-year-old. Look, it's not automatic, right? And a lot of times, too, and looking at the fact that, we're talking about Haythorne, his dad was a basketball player. There's a lot of times where the kids, and, I deal with this as well. My 10-year-old daughter has just gotten into softball. She absolutely loves it now. But there was a time there for a couple of years where they're like, oh, I'm so sick of baseball because it's just constant, right? But when you look at that,
that's how my wife is.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the way it goes. But naturally, if you have that bond and you see mum and dad doing it, like Unger right now, obviously his mum's heavily involved, and so is his auntie. But it's something that it can be that natural progression in a kid's life. But man, it's super impressive when you can look at the parents and say, wow, what they've done as a collegiate athlete, and then watching their kids, they must be so proud. I don't know if you watched the All-Star game yet, Tyler, but watching Jacob Wilson get mic'd up, talking to...
That was very cool.
That was cool. And then having Jack in the stands, it was awesome.
And when they talked about their backyard stickball games,
and
Jack said, I did not go easy on it.
That doesn't surprise me at all, man.
And that really taught Jacob the bat-to-ball skills that have made him, a phenom this year, just the way he is able to get the bat to anything and everything that he's seen. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Talon Zank here in this home half of the fourth inning. Jason Unger came on, got the final out of the third.
And good to see him back after this inning. Look, he came in, thrown to the Wolves in that last inning with bases loaded, but now a chance to really, as we always say early in this game, this is a massive showcase, so a chance to have that clean inning, and look what that command does as we're here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
3-2 pitch on the way to Zank, and that is a called strike 3, and a really good inning of work for the former Nebraska Cornhusker, the current Iowa Western Community College commit, as we are headed to the fifth. Jason Unger with his first strikeout of his first and likely only full inning of work. And we will move in the middle frame of this one. Our score, the North Division 4 and the South Division nothing in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game. Back inside beautiful Joe Martin Field in Bellingham, Washington, a sun-splashed third base side. You got to get here early on West Coast League All-Star Game Day, and I would imagine also on Bellingham Bells game days to get the good spots in the shade. There's a covered grandstand at this ballpark that opened in 1964, and you can get some seats in the shade, but you got to get here early. Can't be dilly-dallying, Ryan Rowland-Smith.
Like you were this afternoon.
I was, that is true.
You hit up 3 different coffee shops around Bellingham.
We did. We went and got coffee. We caught up. It was our first time seeing each other. As a shot out to right field is going to get over the head of the North Division's right fielder, and scampering into second base with a leadoff double is Makoa Sniffen, and thankfully everybody is okay as he ran into a little bit of contact on the infield.
Well, this ball was 99 miles per hour off the bat into that right center gap, going head first into second on that turf, that hot turf. It was hot down there this afternoon, Tyler, let me tell you. I was down there doing my prep. You were hitting up your coffee shop. Yeah.
As I am prone to do. We do have some changes in this game on the defensive side that we will get to you. But man, a great leadoff AB. I believe I gave you our new arm into this game. Or did I? No, I didn't. But this is Keith Manby, who is onto the pitcher's mound for the first time today. North Division All-Star from the Kamloops North Paws in British Columbia. And we are going to get a pinch runner. You know, I was kind of wondering, Sniffen went into second base, and on that headfirst slide, you could see he took a knee to, it looked like the helmet from Tanner Beltowski out at short, and those two checked on each other, but it was almost after that it seemed like Sniffen may have kind of noticed, like, I don't know if I feel 100% right now, and in an All-Star game, no reason to risk anything like that.
Especially too, it's hot out here, maybe dehydrated a little bit.
So the leadoff double, which was out over Max Stagg, who is still in right field. Thought we might have had a change in right field, but that was Stagg in pursuit. Now a 2-ball, no-strike count on Gavin Poffenroth.
Yeah, this is our second trip to Bellingham. Hit up the Leaded Street Coffee House. Big shout out to, catch her name, who's working behind the...
I did not catch her name.
Yeah, I'm sure she's watching.
Gotta be. We told her we were coming to do a baseball game.
Right.
And this is our tradition. We started this, you and I. This is going to sound so pretentious to anybody listening, but we started this in Tokyo. You and I, our first time hanging out at a coffee shop, as the walk to Poffenroth follows the leadoff double by Sniffen. But you and I were doing an event, the WBSC Premier 12 in 2019 at the Tokyo Dome, and found an awesome coffee shop. Last year, we were back in Tokyo. We went back to the same coffee shop. We told the owner, hey, 5 years ago we came here. He could not have been less impressed. Could not have cared less as that ball bunted foul.
Yeah, we actually thought we were going to walk in and him be like, wow,
he's going to go, where have you been?
Yeah, and show us a photo on the wall of it. No, he could care less. It was like,
you were teammates with Ichiro. We've had your photo on the wall for 5 years. Did not happen.
Epic coffee shop, by the way.
Amazing coffee shop.
But since then, Bellingham's got a couple good ones.
Yeah. Amazing spots. Ball driven down the left field line off the bat of the birthday boy, Rios, and that one's down to the left field corner for extra bases. Rios will steam it into second base, drives in a run, and the South is on the board in the top half of the fifth. It's now 4-1.
Have a day, have a birthday. How about that? Single, double, keeping the lineup. I know they like to switch these guys out for an All-Star game, but hey, we had a chance to have a West Coast League All-Star cycle, perhaps, on a birthday. A ball 103 exit velo in the left field.
By the way, Tanner Kern was the pinch runner into the game who scored that run in place of Sniffen. So the RBI double for Rios. Yeah, he's got the single and the double. It's his birthday. You know, we saw Byron Buxton hit for a cycle on his bobblehead day the other day for the Minnesota Twins, the first ever cycle at Target Field. So maybe you go for it. Now Andrew Estrella, deep drive into center field. Brock Sell racing back on this one, pulls it in front of the warning track, tagging at third base. Poffenroth scores. Rios into third, and the South starting to bite into this deficit. It's now 4-2 in the fifth.
I'll tell you what, you're starting to see the bats start to hit up. We saw this a little bit last year too, where it took a little bit for the bats to get going. Yeah, maybe there's some nerves involved, or the pitching, whatever it may be. But we're seeing plenty of really good contact as this game's moving on.
And one defensive change that we should note, that is not Brock Sell anymore in center. That is Talon Zank, who started this game at second base and has moved out into center field. Now a fly ball to left. That one's hauled in out there by yet another defensive replacement as Jacobson pulls in the catch, but tagging at third and scoring on a second consecutive sacrifice fly, Xavier Rios, and the South has cut it to a run now at 4-3.
Yeah, this ball plenty deep enough. Good speed getting down that third base line.
So 2 gone now. And the first new bat into the game for the South will be a current UW Husky, outfielder Landon Young, who will take the third at bat for the 2 spot in the lineup. This is the time when calling an all-star game, you just start to digest the fact that your scorebook is going to be a complete disaster for the rest of the night.
That's why I don't keep score, Todd.
Although I did hear Joe Davis last night on the Fox broadcast say, I have no idea how to score the swing off, the home run swing off to end the off. He said, I feel like it should be, as a matter of record, it should be in my scorebook. I don't know what to put down, which that is true. That's not something many big league broadcasters encountered before. Is Landon Young able to get a piece of that? No, did not. And check that. No, did get a piece of it to stay alive. So
I love the swing off, by the way.
Oh, me too.
Epic. Great idea.
Something they've been doing in the Pioneer League in recent seasons instead of going to extra innings. Another foul ball here by Young. Pioneer League, of course, formerly a rookie-level league and now an MLB partner league. So that means no longer affiliated players, not players signed to major league organizations. It now operates independently of that. 3 balls and 2 strikes here on Landon Young. In the 3-2, Young serves it the other way to right field, trying to track it down as it slices away from him. Max Stagg, nice job to get to it and cut it off quickly, but not quickly enough to hold Landon Young, who is into second with a 2-out double in his first trip to the plate.
Again, with 2 strikes, just going to make better pitches, and Landon Young got something with it where he get his hands extended, slap that ball into right field, 97 off the bat.
We get a visit to the pitcher's mound here from, I believe this is Jim Clem, who is the pitching coach of the Bellingham Bells. So just a calming down situation rather than a pitching change. That'll give me the important moment of relief to try to write some correct names in my defensive alignment.
Had a chance to talk to Jim Clem before the game here in Bellingham. Big Mariners fan. Talked a little bit of Mariners baseball. We also talked about the fact he's been all over the world, but down to Australia. His son was playing down in the Australian Baseball League. His other son, Cody, a chance to talk to him, was playing club baseball down in Melbourne. Sandringham. I know very well, but it's good to chat to Jim.
And one other defensive correction. It is no longer Max Stagg out in right. That is now Jared Hall. As the first pitch, ball 1 to Maddox Risky, and now an attempted steal, and way more than an attempt. Landon Young was about 15 feet away from the third base bag when that ball crossed the plate. Flying into third, got a great jump. So now he is 90 feet away here in the top half of the 5th inning as the potential game-tying run.
Yeah, situation, man. He's just so dialed in on the hitter, you forget about that runner. Big leg kick, really no chance whatsoever to get that out third base.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 gone. 1-2, swung on and missed into the dirt, but a nice job digging things out back there by Jack Johnson, who is into the game. Check that, by Jason Green, who is into the game behind the plate for the North, and that will send us to the bottom of the 5th. The North got 4 in the bottom of the 3rd. The South responds with 3 in the top of the 5th, and we got a 1-run ball game through 4.5 of the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game.
Manzardo, he's kind of a special pick.
0-2. Manzardo hits it in the air. Deep to right field. And it is 3 home runs in a row for the Portland Pickles.
I love summer baseball. It was a good time to, go get some at-bats, meet new teammates that turn into friends. I mean, just being around the guys, Mags, all the coaches, guys at different schools and stuff. I had a great experience in Portland in general. Super fun, super valuable.
Manzardo drove that ball.
Are you impressed with that 2-strike approach by him?
No, nothing he does. It surprises me. He's a really good baseball player.
When I think of Manzo, I just think of a guy who's a credit to his family. Always respectful, always polite, quiet, but still a good sense of humor, right? So he was always fun to be around because you always knew what you were going to get from him. He's going to give you an honest day's work.
It's always special when you're around a coach that, you can tell cares for his players on a personal level, like outside of just baseball. Learned a lot from him. Walker Stadium, that's definitely a one-of-one environment, man. Great fans. Never played anywhere else quite like it. I just hope Portland stays weird, keeps supporting Pickles baseball and supporting baseball as a whole, in their very unique way.
Portland Pickles right-hander Dylan Smith, the next arm onto the pitcher's mound for the South Division as we head into the bottom half of the 5th inning. Back to the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game from Joe Martin Field in Bellingham, Washington. Tyler Maun, Ryan Rowland-Smith. Cade Martinez leads things off for the North Division All-Stars into the game as the shortstop for his side. Tanner Beltowski takes a seat after going 1 for 2 with a run scored in his All-Star appearance. And now it is Martinez who sees the count go to 1-1 on him. Dave Martinez of the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Wonder around the world in, high level, not like amateur high school down. Let's go collegiate summer league up. I wonder how many different words have been put in front of the word Sox to make a baseball team name.
Oh, man, that's a good one. The actual answer is 26. I got no idea.
That's a good one, and I just so happen to know. But you obviously familiar with the team in the Australian Baseball League, the Sydney Blue Sox.
But we're talking like
the Red Sox and White Sox, of course.
Okay.
Apple Sox. There was formerly a minor league baseball team known as the Colorado Springs Sky Sox. Jared Hall shoots one out into left center field, and Hall's going to be able to run forever. That's off of the wall, and Jared Hall will pull into second base. A one-out double for the new right fielder into this game for the North Division here in the 5th.
Yeah, I've seen some really good swing, some good oppo slug too here. We're talking some of the extra base hits we're seeing into some of the oppo gaps, right center field for some of the righties, and left center field too for some of these lefties all game long. Ability to hit all over the field, stay straight away up the middle, hit those gaps. So much tougher to pitch to guys when they're landing in those gaps, especially the other way.
Oh, no strikes on Jason Green, Edmonton Riverhawks catcher. A Niagara University Purple Eagle.
I'll tell you what, we're throwing some stuff out there that maybe on social media, if you're listening, you could throw our way and tell us if you know the answers.
At -18 on Twitter. Somebody has to have gone through and picked out Apple Sox, Sky Sox, Blue Sox, Red Sox, White Sox. Black Sox. You know, I know that one wasn't an official. I'm sure somewhere somebody's been known as officially known as the Black Sox.
Are we talking all amateur levels?
No, I think we're going to go collegiate leagues and up.
Okay, fair enough.
Collegiate leagues through the big leagues. There used to be a team in the AA Texas League known as the Amarillo Gold Sox because Amarillo, Texas is known as the Yellow City. Swing and a miss there. And Jason Green is gone on strikes. And that will bring up the cleanup spot in this order. And a pinch hitter into this spot. It'll be Jacob Hayes. Dylan Smith on the pitcher's mound trying to work around that one-out double. And nice job taking a little bit off there. No balls and a strike. Hayes waits on the 0-2 and torches one into the berm down the left field line. It'll be a souvenir for a little guy who immediately sprang up from his nice perch on a blanket to go sprint after that ball. No balls and 2 strikes on Jacob Hayes. Hayes this season leading the North Division with 7 home runs. .495 slugging percentage, a big part of his .870 OPS. 1-2 pitch, and he lifts one out to left, where it'll hang up for Miller to put it away for the final out of the inning. Jace Miller out there in left field for the South, and that will do it as the leadoff, as the one-out double does no damage for the North. We got a tight one as we head into the 6th inning. Our score through 5 in Bellingham. The North Division All-Stars leading the South 4-3 in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game.
I was scheduled to go to the West Coast League out of high school, and then the draft happened, so there was a slow process deciding whether to sign or not, and then eventually I didn't. My whole senior year, I was like, oh yeah, summer will be cool. I was nervous for it, but I was also very excited. The group of guys that we had there was special. You know, I was jumping into a new group of kind of older guys. Most of them were a year or 2 older than me. It was really good for me being like a younger player. They kind of showed me the ropes of what college baseball and summer ball was about, and really helped me through that whole process.
First pitch, McLean, deep center!
I think hitting with bats every day was different. Playing every day that consistent was different for me. Coming from high school, the competition was good. It was a good introduction to Pac-12 baseball. You got guys throwing every day who are top of the rotation guys in college, Friday night guys, Saturday night guys, and get to face that as a senior going into a freshman year was really an advantage for me because it really made me get better and realize I need to get better quick. But it was a lot of fun. You know, everyone in Bellingham welcomed me with open arms, and it was a great first summer ball experience. I couldn't ask for anything more. My host family was so awesome. I mean, the Ayers, I still talk with them like weekly, maybe once every 2 weeks. To form that connection, that relationship that I still have with them and other teammates, I'll remember those for the rest of my life. Bellingham fans, thank you guys for always supporting me. I really appreciate it. You guys made it.
Top half of the 6th inning in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game. New arm onto the pitcher's mound for the North Division. Kicks and deals, and the first pitch from Mason Chen is ball 1 into Brock Kettleson, who takes the leadoff AB here in the top half of the 6th. We got changes all over the place, so keep your ears open because we will read them off to you for those of you keeping score at home, as the legendary phrase goes that doesn't actually apply to anyone. 2-0 swung on and missed. Count 2-1. The defensive alignment currently for the North Division is Rob Jacobson in left field. Talon Zank, who started this game at second base, moves out to center. Jared Hall takes over in right. Jason Green is behind the plate. Jack Johnson's at third base. Cade Martinez at shortstop. Elijah Clayton at second. And the lone starter remaining in this game on the defensive side for the North Division is Trent Lenahan, who's over at first base. As Brock Kettleson of the Corvallis Knights looks at a 3-1 pitch and rips it right side. Nice stab over there by Clayton. One away. So that brings up, remember, one of the newest franchises in collegiate summer league baseball, the Marion Berries, Danny Weidman, who bats in the spot of Josh Slikart. So Slikart, the big power bat, 15 homers, 50 RBIs so far this season. His day comes to a close. Weidman grounds one over to-third. The Oregon Duck put out on a 5-3 ground ball. 2 away.
Now, just thinking about this, if you're curious about how these players get to these teams, usually it's through their college coach. Always has that good sort of alliance with that one summer ball team and say, look, I need a catcher, I need a right fielder, I need a right-handed pitcher who needs some innings or whatever it may be, and usually there's a batch of them, 4 or 5, and you usually see sometimes, not always, but the same group of players from different schools going to certain teams to have that relationship. But you hear this all the time as well, Tyler, when a pitcher's like, hey, look, I got around this pitching coach, whoever that may be at summer ball, man, something really clicked. It changed my career. It changed that trajectory because I spent those couple months with that one coach in summer ball.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I mean, you can make such a huge impression on a pitcher, and especially too, look, we know about this all the time. A lot of guys that come to this league are in a situation where they didn't get the innings during the season, or for whatever reason, right? Maybe it's performance, maybe it's an injury or whatever. And they get out here in the summer and they start to get lost a little bit as a young man when you're in your early 20s. And then you have a situation where you're around that hitting coach or that pitching coach, and something can click, and all of a sudden you find yourself here in the West Coast League All-Star Game, and off you go when you get picked up by another school, and the rest is history.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is the Arizona Fall League, in a
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely.
Because the amount of times you hear guys say, I was around this coach from this organization,
Great
and
point.
he
Happened
gave
to me, yeah.
different input that I didn't have and made me look at something differently that really helped me out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, man. Arizona Fall League is a situation where all the best players go there. I had a pitching coach, Brad Holman, shout out to Brad, who in AA, I was lost. I really was. And had a chance to be with him in AA, and he said, I'm going to fight to make sure you get to the Arizona Fall League, because there's nothing but prospects going there. I was a little bit under the radar, slipped off that prospect list a little bit. And he said, look, when you go there, a lot of these guys go there and they have too much fun. It's in October, their season's over, and they feel like they've got it all figured out, and they're just a step away from the big leagues. He goes, I want you to go there and absolutely dominate. We need to get you on that 40-man roster. And that's what we did. He was my pitching coach in the Arizona Fall League, the Peoria Javelinas, and we just got after him. I had the best Fall League I could have imagined, got put on the 40-man roster, and the rest is history.
Brad Holman, one of the all-time good guys you'll come across in professional baseball.
Oh, he's the best.
And a guy who, years after you know him, I remember worked with Brad Holman. He was a pitching coach for a team that I broadcasted for in 2011. I saw him in Major League Spring Training, I think in 2017, 2018, and immediately just snapped into asking how my family was, just one of the truly good guys in baseball.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like just those along the way, right? Now I bring up his name all the time, and this happens too in this league too. This summer, all of a sudden, someone you get around, it just clicks in the batting cage, on that bullpen mound, and you take that back into your college baseball routine, and good things happen.
2-out walk for Tanner Kern ahead of Jace Miller. Bend Elks outfielder playing collegiately for the Portland Pilots. 3 balls and a strike on him. He is out of the 8th spot in the order is Miller. And a cut and miss there to put the count full on him.
I'll tell you what, when Chen can get that hand on top of that breaking ball and get that depth, not so much the horizontal but the vertical, and get a little bit extra depth, man, he's going to get a ton of swing and miss because he has that natural cut on his fastball, and that slider can be such a good complement to it.
3-2, runner off and moving, and a fly ball to shallow right, and out to try to make the grab. Oh, wow. It's tipped from the second baseman, Clayton, and Hall is there to make the catch. Just the way you drew it up if you're the Northside All-Stars, as the final out of the inning ends up in the glove of Jared Hall, and that's all that matters. Elijah Clayton, a little assist. Jared Hall gets the put out, and that'll do it for the South in the 6th. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning, the North Division with a 4-3 lead. Bottom half of the 6th inning and a 4-3 lead for the North Division over the South Division from the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game. Newest arm into the game for the South Division is the right-hander Michael Hofken, who will take over on the hill for his squad, representative of the Ridgefield Raptors, who kicks and deals. And his first pitch to J.C. Allen, the latest bat into the box for the North, is ball 1. J.C. Allen of the Victoria Harbor Cats. 17 games played so far this season. That is the fewest of any All-Stars, but he is one of the really talented young guys on this roster. And in those 17 games, he has certainly shown that. 323, 430, 600 is slash line to this point as he lines one out to short. And a catch made out there by the right-handed Hopkins Raptors teammate, Andrew Estrella. One away. That'll bring up Rob Jacobson of the host Bellingham Bells.
It's a nice play, a little 2-0. Slider hanging, decent contact. Make that play.
Rob Jacobson plunked there and will take his base.
Well, that's a big chance for Hofkin. He's in Feather River College, junior college. Chance to show off here, try and get to that 4-year school if he hasn't already. Having a good summer here in the West Coast League.
Man, and Ryan, you said this a couple times, and it hits the nail on the head. You know, if we were doing this broadcast even 5 years ago, the likelihood of getting to this time of the summer and have guys who are still in the portal, guys who are still kind of auditioning, trying to find their landing spot. You know, we're only a few weeks away from the start of the fall academic term for most schools around the country. As this fly ball into right field squeezed out there by Brock Kettleson. 2 gone. But it is just such a different landscape now with the transfer portal, with player movement.
Big time.
And, you know, I'm all for player movement and athletes being able to go find the right situation. But it has to be stressful on a lot of guys. I mean, it's the middle of July, and you're still trying to find your spot or announce your spot. There's so many different moving parts that go into all this now.
Yeah, and even, too, the guys who are out of school knowing that, like, that school is still out there fishing out players in the transfer portal. So you're sitting there going, man, I had a rough month or so, and all of a sudden I think I'm about to get replaced. There's really no, essentially call it loyalty to that school from the player or the team. But, you know, I get it. The players are free to move around and whatever it may be. But, man, it has changed the landscape. Not just the fact that you can transfer, but also, too, the way they look at junior college players, the value in junior college players if they're not going to get that portal pick.
Fly ball into center field, lands in the glove of Danny Weidman, and that will do it for the North here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. North Division with a 4 spot in the bottom of the 3rd. The South has chipped away almost all of it, but as we head to the 7th, the North still in the lead, 4-3. Top of the 7th inning coming up, the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game.
Wenatchee, that was my first taste of what the minor leagues in pro baseball was going to be like.
Favorite part about Wenatchee is obviously coming to the ball field every day and hanging out with all my teammates.
This ball in the air to deep center field. It's got a chance.
When I got to the West Coast League and was kind of seeing 90 consistently, that was sort of a rude awakening the first week. I remember I kind of struggled to start and then sort of caught fire and kind of showed me that I can hit college level pitching. That gave me confidence going into UCLA that I can, work my way to being a starter.
I went to Walla Walla right after high school before my freshman year at UCLA, and it was a great experience, first of all, but it was a really eye-opening experience for me. The summer league circuit is really a great way to figure out kind of where you fit in. You come back to school, okay, I have some confidence, maybe some success, but I have some things I need to work on. The romance of it all is you do get to experience, all these really cool, fun, unique, and I say this endearingly, but small towns. You see how much of an appetite the community and the people that live there have for the game of baseball. You feel like you're a part of the community, right? It doesn't feel like you're just in there for a few days, few weeks. And it's only a couple months, right, throughout the year, but I mean, still, to this day, it's some of my favorite experiences and favorite times playing baseball.
We would go to Applebee's every single night, crush mozzarella sticks and, get all the appetizers and just honestly eat awful, but we were 17. And I remember them shooting out socks all the time, socks for Apple socks. It's just an awesome experience.
Well, if you were a former major league pitcher who threw with your left arm. It's been kind of a bummer so far today. We have yet to see a lefty arm on the pitcher's mound as another right-hander steps onto the hill for the North Division All-Stars. 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game continues. Carson Bozel will take over on the pitcher's mound. The Wenatchee Apple Sox and Washington Huskies right-hander, and his first pitch is dealt in there to Isaiah Ibarra, the reserve catcher who's into the game for the South. And it is there for strike one. Ibarra, one of the representatives from the USC Trojans in this 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game. A ball and a strike on him. Ibarra, so far this season, 29 games for him. 280 average, 777 OPS. And Ryan, one thing I even remember seeing this last year when we were here for the West Coast League All-Star Game, the amount of hitters who have really, really good strikeout to walk ratios stands out. I mean, Ibarra is one of those guys. He has walked 22 times and struck out 21 times. If you look up and down, then I mean, some of the guys in this South Division lineup, Kyle McDaniel stands out most so far this season. 33 walks, just 10 strikeouts. A lot of guys with really good bat-to-ball skills, really good strike zone recognition.
Yeah, and that's one of those X factors we're talking about. Look, you can come to a league like this, the West Coast League, especially coming out of junior college, and from a pitcher's point of view, you can be upper 90s with that fastball. That's great. Do you have that pitch ability on the hitting side? You can have that plus X of velo and BP, and you have that plate discipline. Man, I'm telling you, we talked about this early in the game, Tyler. The fact that college baseball at this level, the gap between this level here and the major league level has shortened so much in the last half of a decade, and a big reason for that is some of the maturity and the plate discipline at the dish.
3-2 pitch fouled away. You know, and so much, too, the continued development of college players. We hear so much about the reduction in size of the minor leagues. We're at 120 full-season teams now. The Class A short season and rookie advanced leagues that have gone away. Rookie ball is now just down to the complex level. And there has been, you know, a lot of gnashing of teeth over that as a 3-2 is ball 4. Jason Green wanted a strike 3 call. He was ready to pop up and throw that down to third, and instead it's a leadoff walk for Isaiah Ibarra. But on the flip side of that, we are seeing so much better talent at the college level, and we're seeing so much more polish on college players because guys they stick around a little while longer in college. They're more mature coming out of college, even though there are obviously drawbacks to, you know, towns that have gone the indie ball route or, you know, different routes that used to be affiliated minor league towns. There's a lot of really, really good baseball still being played. It's just in different designations now.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? And there's a lot of different factors that you can put towards this.
High chopper over 2/3. Jack Johnson will just go across the diamond for the out.
First of all, you mentioned the fact that minor league baseball has been cut down, right? Number 2, the draft is a little shorter as well. Number 3, we talked about the transfer portal and a situation where college level, the highly recruited high school player is less and less now as well, right? Because teams they don't want to have to take that gamble in getting that high school pick, especially that kid they want to commit in 10th grade when you're talking about a sophomore at high school or a junior level high school player.
Cooper Mullins, slow roller to second. He's put out, but Isaiah Ibarra has advanced 2 stations, so he's at third now.
So I've talked to college coaches about this, especially on the recruiting side. They're like, look, what we like to do now is take less players from high school. We like to try and pull, and this is like that mid-major to major schools, pull players out of the transfer portal. If we don't get those players, we can get them from a junior college to fill up those rosters, really talented, more mature players from junior college. So you look at that and think to yourself, all right, from a high school level, man, all of a sudden, it's the best going to those majors, mid-majors, and the more mature kids are going to fill up those rosters as well. So the level just gets better and better and deeper because you're filling up with players a little bit more on the mature side as opposed to filling up with a bunch of 18-year-olds coming out of high school. I'll tell you what, we've seen it too the last couple of years, how fast some of these draft picks are getting to the big leagues. You know, Paul Skeen's classic example of that. Now one of the best pitchers in baseball was literally pitching for LSU not long ago.
Jack Caglione, of course, making his major league debut earlier this year.
Yeah. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're coming out of college so quick. pitcher for the Reds. What was his name? The righty?
Chase Burns.
Yeah.
Just made his major league debut as well. That was who I was trying to think of.
Noah Schanuel.
This just happened the other day with somebody, and that's who it was. Chase Burns is a strike 3 there as Landon Young is retired, and that will do it for the South Division here in the top half of the 7th inning. It is stretch time at Joe Martin Field in beautiful Bellingham, Washington, and we are headed to the bottom of the 7th inning in a good one. Our score, the North Division All-Stars 4, the South Division 3 in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game from Bellingham. Bottom half of the 7th inning, and a new arm into the game for the South Division All-Stars as Alex Chavez will take over on the mound. Another representative of the Marion Berries, Salem, Oregon, in this 2025 West Coast League season. The Marion Berries logo, which is another one you should go look up, and go look up all of them. The West Coast. Oh, did you see the squirrel? Well, squirrel just sprinted behind home plate. Heard us talking about berries and was like, "Where? I got to get some of these." That's
just
running around in front of the third base dugout right now, and trying to sneak under the fence somewhere. I think finally may have gotten into the South Division's bullpen. Anyway, chaos here to kick off the 7th. The berries, the logo is a blackberry. It's wearing very cool sunglasses. That was the only point I wanted to make.
Well, yeah. Blew that one. That was going to be a cool point to make, but your committee timing was absolutely terrible. Distracted by the squirrel.
The squirrel ruined it.
Hey, we're in the Pacific Northwest. That's just how it goes.
3 balls and a strike on the leadoff man, Talon Zank, here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Check that. And now 3 balls on the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It was 2-2 prior to that last offering. Here comes the 3-2 offering, and that one is down and in for ball 4. So Zank works a walk. That's his second of the day. Been a good day for Talon Zank, who started this game at second base, moved out to center field. 2 walks, had a run scored in that 4-spot 3rd inning for the North. And now finds himself on to lead things off here in the 7th and send it back to the top of the order, and Cade Martinez of the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Cade Martinez in 32 games this year, a .303 hitter with a .768 OPS. University of San Diego, Torero.
San Diego State is the Aztecs.
The Aztecs. He's a former San Diego State guy, now at University of San Diego as he skies one left side. into shallow left field. Calling to make the catch, Andrew Estrella with Jace Miller.
Do you usually see that? Guys going from like a school like that?
No,
like,
in the same city.
Yeah.
I kind of was thinking about that earlier today. That doesn't seem like a super common thing. University of San Diego, I mean, obviously San Diego State, great program. University of San Diego, great program. Probably the most famous Torero in recent memory. Cover your ears, Colorado Rockies fans. Chris Bryant as a bouncing ball back to the mound. And Chavez fielded that and was set to underhand toss it over to Tanner Kern at first. Had to take it himself, with Kern coming to play that ball as well. So 2 gone.
But you know what I'm thinking? Like UCLA, USC, University of Washington, Washington State.
Even it would be, in that case, it would be similar to going from, say, Seattle U to the University of Washington or vice versa, being in the same city. As Jason Green takes strike 1. 2 outs. Zank in scoring position now off of that grounder. As the North Division looks to add an insurance run here in the bottom half of the 7th. Here's the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Jason Green, a native of Georgetown, Ontario, picked play on and back in safely. Zank got the right hand in. Another guy who is the son of a former high-level athlete as well. Jason Green's father, Curtis, played baseball at Troy University. 3 balls and a strike.
All right, Tyler, we're in the city of Bellingham right now. Now, again, if you're listening, you're from Bellingham, or people stand around me as I say this. What you tell me? What are the locals known in Bellingham, affectionately known as here in Bellingham?
There's a shot down the right field line. That's a fair ball. That one touchdown just inside the line, and it's going to be an RBI double for Jason Green, who brings in Talon Zank, and the North Division does add that insurance run here in the 7th. It's now 5-3.
I'll tell you what, Jason Green may have saved me here because if I've got this wrong, people might get upset. Yeah, that ball was scorched down into right field, 104 miles per hour off the bat.
That was a rope. When that came off the bat, I didn't think there was much chance that it was going to stay fair, but it was hit so hard that it got down before the tail could take it into foul territory. Now we're going to visit the pitcher's mound to talk things over with Alex Chavez. Bellingham.
We have to get this fact checked, by the way. We do have some Bellingham locals here, so we have to get this fact checked. So if you're listening from Bellingham, please don't get upset if this is incorrect.
If this is incorrect. I am hoping that it's Bellinghamers.
Close. I got a Bellinghamsters. Is that correct?
Please tell me that's true. Please tell me they're Bellinghamsters.
People are shrugging their shoulders around me. That's not good.
We're going to have to go back to that coffee shop later.
Yes.
What do you call people from this town? Bellingham, Washington, by the way, I mean, I'm probably going to try to talk my wife into us moving here at some point in my life, because every time I come here, why would anyone not live here? This place is amazing. Bellingham's that's the thing about the West Coast League that maybe is the finest qualification of this league. There is not a place in this league that is not located in some of the most beautiful country on the planet. Amazing towns, amazing cities. But Bellingham is tough to beat, man. We came here last year. I wonder what's the cost of living around here. I'd be willing to find myself in Bellingham. Fly ball down the left field line. That one will get out of play. I mean, it is beautiful. The weather, when we stopped in the coffee shop earlier today, and we were talking about the weather. The young lady there said, yeah, maybe it'll cool down a little bit. It's like, cool down? It's 82. It's perfect. What are you talking about? Right. Cool down. The sun has finally dipped low enough behind the trees that we got the lights on and the field in full shade here at Joe Martin Field. No ball, 2-strike count on Jacob Hayes, who takes that one away, 1-2. Jacob Hayes, one of the Nanaimo Night Owls on this North Division side. This season, a .261 hitter and .870 OPS, and he pounds a high bouncer out too short, where Andrew Estrella will put him out, and that'll retire the side here in the 7th. But the North Division does add an insurance run on the RBI double by Jason Green, and we head to the top half of the 8th inning. Just a little bit of breathing room for the North with a 2-run lead out in front of the South, 5-3 in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game from Bellingham, Washington.
College summer ball is a blast. Playing baseball and going all over the Pacific Northwest is beautiful in summertime. Great league, fun cities to travel to, great weather, fun ballparks. Give me a kind of like a taste of what it was like to play professional baseball with the schedule, playing every day, taking long bus rides. Made a lot of good friends on those teams, and a couple big leaguers on my team. Matt Duffy, Matt Boyd. You get to meet guys from all over the country, come together for a couple months in the summertime. All try to get better and push each other, and a lot of good memories looking back on that summer in Corvallis.
Fuel the adrenaline is coming out now.
Yeah, his hands on the mound.
He was a key piece of our club that season, and he was one of the most talented, if not the most talented position player on the field at that time. And we had a pink bat day, a breast cancer awareness day. Next thing you know, Mitch comes up and he hits one out of the park, and he ended up not letting go of that pink bat for a couple of weeks. I mean, I think he went on a tear, maybe 5 or 6 home runs in the next 10 or 12 games, and kind of came out of his shell a little bit more.
Yeah, summer ball days, it's hard to get your hands on a good bat, so once you got one, just ride with it. We were blessed to play, OSU and Corvallis, and what a great, little college town that was, and it just prepares you for professional baseball. I think it was such a valuable experience for me to go through in college, and it definitely helped me in the minor leagues.
New arm into the game for the North Division All-Stars as we head into the top half of the 8th inning is Preston Watkins, who will take over on the hill. Watkins, a member of the Bellingham Bells and a Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islander.
Ooh, I like it. I've been to Corpus Christi. Pitch there.
Never have.
Corpus Christi
against the Hooks. Bouncing ball left side from Maddox. Risky. 1 up, 1 down.
That's where a real quick story on that. Corpus Christi in the bullpen there. Norm Charlton, Seattle Mariners legend, one of the Nasty Boys as well, was my pitching coordinator. He sat on a fold-up chair in the right-hander's batter's box. Said, "I want you to pitch inside, like hit me." I swear,
drill him.
I drilled him. Yeah. I drilled him right up around the hip somewhere, and he walked it off, and he said, "That's it." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Day 1 in Corpus Christi. How about that?
1 out for Brock Kettleson in the 5 spot of the South Division's lineup. All right, Harmon Johnson, who is the radio voice and the media relations director of the Pippins here in the beautiful West Coast League, has informed us that and this is very much one of those things that I think like, oh yeah, that would make sense. The Marion Berries mascot and logo is not just a blackberry. It is, in fact, a Marion berry. Now, here is the thing, and this is it's not exactly something I've ever come across before. So it is a type of blackberry, but according to the Wikipedia page about Marion berries, as a liner to center field is going to get down for a base hit. Brock Kettleson's got himself a knock, a one-out single here in the 8th. It says the Marionberry is a cultivar of blackberry released in 1956 by the USDA Agricultural Research Service breeding program in cooperation with Oregon State University. I didn't know they just released new fruit. That's what is that, like an album? It's USDA, they came out with that new berry in 1956, runner off, and an easy stolen base there for Brock Kettleson. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, genetically modified.
Yeah.
That's basically
even back in 1956, they were cultivating Marionberries. I had no clue. But that's the mascot. They rolled out a new actual physical mascot today called Dingle the Berry.
I like it.
They had a bear who was a mascot, and now they have added Dingle to the mascot rotation. One of the mascots who was on hand for the national anthem, and they did a mascot race, first to third, between innings. As Danny Weidman, the center fielder for the South Division, stands in for his second at bat. Oregon Ducks freshman fouls out at the plate.
And the mound, Preston Watkins takes over. 6'3" righty, 205 pounds.
Watkins, a senior. Runner off from first, and the throw to second is not in time to get him. So a stolen base there. And with 2 gone, that'll bring up Tanner Kern as Weidman is retired. There was a foul ball on that first stolen base attempt. I was thinking, wait a minute, didn't you already steal second? No, I was too busy reading about the USDA
berries.
releasing new varieties of berries. So a ball and no strikes now on Tanner Kern. One thing about All-Star games, they'll make you a little loopy. Trying to keep up with everything that happens roster-wise and defensive change-wise and everything else. The only starters who have remained in this game on each side are Trent Lenahan at first base for the North Division and Maddox Risky on the South Division. Here's the 1-1 from Watkins. Bellinghamsters.
That's right.
We're gonna have to
by
try.
the way, it was confirmed.
Was it really?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
That was
okay.
confirmed. Bellinghamster.
Bellinghamster is that's the term. Wow, I had no idea. Now, do you think people from Birmingham are Birminghamsters?
Interesting, yeah.
Asking all the important questions in the
yeah.
8th inning of this 2025 West Coast League All-Star game. Man, it has been a workout out there for Brock Kettleson. Stole second base after attempting to steal second base, now having to run on all the foul balls. Two balls and 2 strikes on Tanner Kern. Kern came on as the pinch runner in place of Makoa Sniffen after Sniffen's double earlier in this game, and again off with a great jump and successfully stealing third would have been if not for the strikeout of Tanner Kern. So a lot of running in that inning for Brock Kettleson, but he ends up stranded at third, and that will do it here in the top half of the 8th. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The North will try to add on to its 2-run lead in the 2025 West Coast League All-Star game.
It's wild. I mean, it's crazy. It's still hard to believe that I have that ring. I'm not sure exactly how it came about, but I had the opportunity to go up and play in Kelowna. I was really fortunate. We had a really good group of guys up there, and it's a beautiful place. I mean, we really appreciate everybody who came out and watched us play and supported us, and made that summer really special for all of us out there. It's just an awesome city you guys live in. It was an absolute blast. playing in the West Coast League. It was a very different experience for me. I really hadn't been away from home that long. It was my first college summer league team. Most guys leave and they really are focused on the innings, getting more work in, developing a pitch. For me, it was just kind of having an opportunity to face some different hitters, and it was definitely more of a step into a professional style of play. You're playing a lot more. It's just not weekend sets. I got to put a lot of innings in my mind. I was out of the bullpen a little bit, so that was new to me. It was just a really good opportunity for me to refine all my stuff going into my sophomore year. Out of high school, I thought I was going to be a position player. If you would have told me, 10 years later, I would be, pitching and being at this stage, I would have been a little surprised. I was very fortunate to get drafted. Ended up here in Houston. It's been an awesome ride here the last 3 years. It's still hard to believe that I have that ring. It's wild. I mean, it's crazy. The things that happened during those games last year are just unforgettable.
The thing about Phil is that, he's the same every day. I mean, you can't tell if he's going good or if he's going bad. That's what makes him a quality reliever. It's the fact that, his highs aren't that high and his lows aren't that low. Enjoy Phil. I think I bought him some corn one day, and I wanted to know his opinion because from where he's from, he's a corn expert.
Right-hander wearing the number 15 in the green of the Portland Pickles. Ryder Edwards takes over on the pitcher's mound. The anticipated last arm that we will see today for the South Division All-Stars. Now, if the South is able to rally and keep this thing going into the 9th, we would likely see Edwards again there. But he's got the 8th inning here with the North Division leading and trying to add on as J.C. Allen will lead things off here in the bottom half of the 8th. I have to say that if I were, and again, this is an incredible logo and uniform league, but if I'm picking my favorite uniforms in the league, I think I got to go with the Harbor Cats.
Really?
J.C. Allen at the plate right now. It's like that vintage 70s Blue Jays
look.
I
like that, yeah.
The pullovers, the stripes down the sides of the sleeves, and it's more of the vintage Expos look, I guess, than the Blue Jays look. But man, I really like that look a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
You can't go wrong with anybody in this league.
Do you feel like minor league baseball just took it up a notch in the last 5 years, where they just said, we're just going to go all in on the craziness?
What's been so interesting in the last several years,
and then obviously with college summer league,
it all filters down.
Yeah.
In minor league baseball in recent years, what's become so interesting is the amount of alternate identities that have come out for teams as Allen skies this one out into right field and tracking it toward the corner. Catch made out there by Kettleson, one down. But teams that already have, wacky identities as their primary identity then decide to, just tack on a few additional wild alternate identities. But, then there's still a lot of the classics around, too. I mean, a place that you played and know and love, Everett, the Aqua Sox.
I love it.
Another Sox team,
that's right.
by the way.
Aqua Sox.
Aqua Sox.
Oh, man.
How do we miss that one?
Yeah, I had it on that.
Drove by the stadium on the way up here to Bellingham.
I'm hosting a camp with the Aqua Sox at Funko Field in just a couple of weeks. I cannot wait. That's one of a team I've pitched for. I love it up there. It's great.
Tacoma Rainiers, another classic identity in minor league baseball. A lot of those around here. But one of my favorite minor league identities of all, also in this region, but the Hillsboro Hops in the Portland area, who are just as good as it gets at just about everything in the way they market themselves. They got a new ballpark coming. 0-2 pitch to Rob Jacobson, skitters away. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. But you're right, all of that is filtered down. The Portland Pickles were one of those teams that really sort of pushed the envelope in the collegiate summer league game as well. When they came out with that identity, people thought, Pickles? The Portland Pickles is what they're going with? And then they turned it into, a behemoth identity.
They really did.
And, now you look at, across this league, the amount of amazing names, and not just the new fun names, but the old wacky names too. The Bellingham Bells, that's a historic name in this region, in this ballpark, in fact. 2-2 pitch fouled back.
Yeah, they got some history in this ballpark, especially professional and college. That's for sure.
Place where Ken Griffey Jr. made his professional debut as a member of the Bellingham Mariners. Edgar Martinez played here. Dave Henderson, Dave Valley. I mean, all kinds of legendary guys who came through Bellingham. His team, the team that called Bellingham home, known as the Bellingham Dodgers, and they were a Los Angeles affiliate in the mid-1970s. Then they were a Mariners affiliate from 1977 to 1994. San Francisco Giants affiliate 1995 and 96 as ball 4 slips down to Rob Jacobson, so 1-out walk for him. Now bring up Jack Johnson.
Yeah, how about that? Ken Griffey Jr., 17 years old. The first game he ever played was in Bellingham. Hit a home run. Former teammate of mine, by the way.
You know what's crazy to think about with that is Ken Griffey Jr. was making his professional minor league debut. He was younger than basically everybody in this game, a collegiate summer league game. And I mean, a guy who, and he's been open about his struggles, you know, his mental health struggles when he was here in Bellingham, and, you know, the stuff that really helped him find himself as a professional ball player. As a pickoff throw over to first is in time to get Rob Jacobson, who got fooled over there by Edwards. And the home crowd doesn't like the call as their guy is called out over at first. Look at this lightning quick move, though, from Edwards with a runner dancing off.
Yeah, timed that perfectly. Fast feet, got over there. I think we've seen everything in this game. We just haven't seen that big home run just yet. There it was.
Fouled back, and
well. Here, let me read some numbers for you. I don't know if there was the home sickness you were talking about with Ken Griffey Jr., but didn't show up in his game. 54 games, 313 batting average, 14 home runs, 13 stolen bags, OPS over 1,000.
17 years old
Unreal.
In professional baseball. And that one just missed 2 balls and a strike. Jack Johnson, the Baylor Bear. Harbor Cats infielder who takes strike 2 to put it even. Ryder Edwards trying to face the minimum here in the 8th. And a called strike 3 freezes Johnson and ends things in the bottom half of the 8th inning. We will head to the 9th. The South needs 2 at least to keep this thing going as the North tries to close in on its 2nd consecutive All-Star Game win here in the West Coast League. Come on back to Joe Martin Field, top of the 9th, up next.
Summer ball just, it has that romantic kind of energy. The sun's out, you get to really enjoy your summer. You're still playing baseball, something you love, but at the same time, you get those precious off days. You get to go out and hang out with your boys, and it's cool. It's really unique because you're playing with guys all over America who you would never have an opportunity to play with, but you create these really long forming friendships. The people that you meet is amazing, the host families that you have. We had something really special, man. It was baseball at its purest, and not only did we all love the game, we love each other, and we were playing just to play another game. It wasn't we have to win the series, it was just like we just want to play another game with each other. I played for the Corvallis Knights, home field of the Beavers, where I went to school at Oregon State. I knew a lot of guys that played there before. Nick Madrigal, I played with Adley, Zach Taylor. Playing for the Knights felt like an honor. The West Coast League is a great place to play some ball. I mean, I think it's like there's some leagues where it's just like get your reps, get out of there, but like you're there to win every single game. The coaches care, the fans care. Like it's a real fun environment, but competitive at the same time. Summer ball is just its own kind of beast. There's people who are just Corvallis Knights fans. Like, I tell them like, oh, excited for the Oregon State season, and they really couldn't care less. They're all about the Corvallis Knights season, and we had a winning tradition up to that point, so they expected us to win. They have fans love their baseball. They're knowledgeable as well. We had a bunch of kids there. That was always a bunch of fun. It was definitely a really cool experience.
Well, we head to the 9th inning at the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game here from beautiful Bellingham, Washington. And the first left-handed pitcher of the day will take them out. And that is the lefty Joe Thornton, who gets a first pitch grounder out to short. And the leadoff man, Jace Miller, is gone. 1 up and 1 down on 1 pitch here in the top of the 9th.
Tell you finally got your lefty.
I did. I didn't want you to feel too lonely as the lone lefty pitcher taking part in this broadcast, so we made sure that we would get Joe Thornton out there. Joe Thornton, a sophomore at Gonzaga, member of those Wenatchee Apple Sox that we have discussed throughout the night. Lanky lefty. Finds himself ahead of Isaiah Ibarra, no balls and a strike. Now no balls and 2 strikes. He blows that one by him.
Okay, sneaky 90 miles per hour.
No balls and 2 strikes as Thornton deals. Thornton actually back in Wenatchee this year. He pitched just 4 innings, but he did pitch last summer for the Apple Sox. He is from Penasket, Washington, which, man, I hope I pronounced that right. Foul ball back into the screen. 1 and 2 on Ibarra. Isaiah Ibarra from West Covina, California. Freshman at USC. He's worked his way back from 0-2 to 3-2 in this count. Trying to find a way on and bring the tying run to the plate here in the top half of the 9th. Big lefty kicks and deals 3-2, and it's spoiled foul. Thornton only needed 1 pitch to get the leadoff out in this inning, and on his 7th pitch of this at-bat, he issues a 1-out walk to Ibarra, and that'll send it back to the top of the order.
Now you got 2 strikes quick, then all of a sudden slip behind.
So that brings up Andrew Estrella. Hit a ball well to center field in his first trip to the plate back in the 5th inning. Sacrifice fly. No balls and a strike on him here. Fouled at the plate. Thornton will get a new baseball. And then trade it out and take the old one back, and it's 0-2. Serving as the tying run potentially here in the top of the 9th. Andrew Estrella, and he swings and can't get a piece of the 0-2. And with 2 gone, the task will fall to Cooper Mullins out of the 2 spot in the order.
Yeah, that's a tough look from Thornton. He talked about being left-handed. We've seen nothing but righties. Has that low 3/4 arm slot, just that really deep slider. It has a good depth to it. Tough to pick up the seams.
Fans here in Bellingham, some of them rise to their feet as Thornton deals strike 1 to Cooper Mullins. Mullins of the Springfield Drifters. sees the count go even on him. 36 games so far this season, a .336 hitter with an .836 OPS. Bellingham cheering the North Division on to a second consecutive All-Star Game win if Thornton can finish it off in front of these home fans. One glanced off of the glove of Jason Green, didn't get too far away. So Ibarra held it first. Here comes a 2-1. 2-2.
Nice pitch. A good breaking ball. Coach had that strike three last at bat. Now just dumping that pitch in the strike zone, left on left. See him get on top of this slider right here and bury it. Get that swing right over it.
2-2 pitch. And the count will go full. That'll release Ibarra from first. Every single pitcher to this point for the North has done his duty, tasked with 1 inning apiece, and Thornton trying to finish off the 9th to get the North Division an All-Star Game win. And instead, on the 3-2, he drills Mullins in the back, and now the go-ahead run will bat as back-to-back base runners with drifters at first and second, and it brings Landon Young to the plate with an opportunity to turn this game on its head.
Yeah, he had Mullins set up on that pitch too, but just trying to do too much. Thornton, that ball slipping out the side of his hand.
So a chance for Landon Young of the Walla Walla Sweets and a big cut and miss. It's 0-1. Young this season, a .317 hitter with an .884 OPS. He has driven in 18 runs in the regular season over 30 games played for the Sweets. A 1 pitch from Thornton. 0-2. The big lefty Joe Thornton trying to wrap up this All-Star Game win. As we approach 9:15 out here on the West Coast, Thornton aims to finish off Landon Young. 0-2 pitch. Young, a good job to fight off a tough one there and stay alive at 0-2. Ibarra at second base, Mullins at first. 0-2 pitch from Thornton, and another foul ball. Landon Young battling to try to keep things going for the South here in the top half of the 9th inning. North Division ready to celebrate on the field. Might not be with the theatrics of last year's win, a walk-off victory, 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th. But it would be a win all the same, and the 0-2 seals it. A swing and a miss by Landon Young, and Joe Thornton closes out an All-Star Game victory for the North Division.
Tyler, this has been a lot of fun. Really good arms this year. We've seen a couple guys touching 95s, but some of these pitchers with really good secondary pitches. But, man, you see the bats start to heat up around that 3rd, 4th inning, second time through the lineup. Guys having a really good time amidst of their summer here in West Coast League baseball.
Man, just a perfect night for baseball and another really, really fun game. Didn't have the drama of last season,
right.
The walk-off 3-2 win for the North in the bottom of the 9th. But, man, what a fun one tonight as the North able to capture a second straight win on its home field over the South. Final line in this game for the North Division, 5 runs on 6 hits and no errors. For the South, it's 3 runs on 7 hits and no errors. And that 4 spot in the bottom of the 3rd, more than enough for the North. And now, Ryan, for these guys, really just 2.5 weeks remaining in this season. And now if you're a team that's, pressing for a playoff spot, pressing for a return to a league championship, if you're, the Corvallis Knights or the Portland Pickles, now you focus and hone yourselves in on these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too, and the thing you want to take away from being here at this West Coast League All-Star Game, and then on to the last couple of weeks of your season, going into your next college season into that fall practice. You just want to be full of confidence. I think playing at a game like this on this stage against this kind of competition, there's nothing but that. And being around some of the coaches and some of the memories you'll make this summer, taking you back to your next season of college baseball.
Well, another amazing day for us here in Bellingham, and we cannot thank the West Coast League enough, from Commissioner Rob Nyer all the way down through the support staffs here. We have had such a blast over the last couple of years getting a chance to call these games and do things and see Bellingham and be part of this event with these players and with these teams and these staffs. And congratulations to the North. Congratulations to those guys who are headed off to big college seasons and things to come in 2025 and beyond. And another really fun one here in Bellingham tonight.
It's been fun, Tyler. Good to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
With the Bellinghamsters and all the West Coast League.
We're going to go
thank you.
Make some friends with some Bellinghamsters before we say goodbye for the final time. But at least as the broadcast goes, we will say goodbye for the final time. For our entire production crew here in Bellingham, my color analyst Ryan Rowland-Smith, and all the rest, my name is Tyler Maun. Congrats to the North Division 5-3 winners over the South as we say goodbye from the 2025 West Coast League All-Star Game in Washington.
Thank you.